Chapter 1449. Attack. Kill those old fellows from the palace of war gods for me. Don't leave a single one alive. I'm going to tear them into pieces. Wuzun roared crazily. Suddenly, the formation in the valley ahead flickered, and countless rays of light enveloped the ninth elder and the others. The ninth elder and the others looked up to the sky and laughed, looking very excited. At this moment, they were not afraid at all because the scene that Lin Xian had displayed had deeply shocked them. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. He could instantly kill a top genius like Duan Yu. Their young master was so powerful, so what if they died? Moreover, they believed that Din Xian would definitely protect Lin Xian. Therefore, they could die without regrets. Seeing the formation flickering in front of them, forming countless killing sword chi, and slashing toward the ninth elder and the others, many people sighed. As for the Senma College elders, they clenched their fists and were about to attack. However, Lin Xian said indifferently, "Ruzalong, save them all." What? Save them? How? That was an extremely terrifying killing formation. Even a half-step king might not be able to survive inside. Many people shook their heads and sneered. However, in the next moment, a light flashed and the ninth elder and the others appeared beside the Crimson Dragon. Although they were injured, their lives were not in danger. What? They were saved? How is this possible? Everyone was stunned. That was a super killing formation. How did the other party do it? And it succeeded in the blink of an eye. They did not even see how the other party did it. This time, not only were the innocents shocked, but young Master Anil and the others were also extremely shocked. They also did not see it clearly. The Duan family was even more stunned. They stood rooted to the ground, unable to believe it. Even the 5 great kings could not remain calm this time. This was because this method was extremely shocking to them. With their experience and strength, they could naturally see the power of that killing formation. Even a half-step king might not be able to escape. Unless they made a move, they would not be able to save them instantly. But now, a 4-legged snake had actually done it. How was this possible? Therefore, in an instant, countless gazes were fixed on the Crimson Dragon. Among them, 5 gazes belonged to kings. They were extremely bright like torches. I can't sense its cultivation base. Ancestor Moron was surprised. The patriarch of the Shen family also frowned. Could he be a super array master? Interesting indeed. The happy king stared at the Crimson Dragon with a fiery gaze. Din Xian was also shocked. He naturally knew about the Crimson Dragon, but now it seemed that the Crimson Dragon had recovered. This made him heave a sigh of relief in his heart. If the other party had really recovered, it would definitely be a great thing for him. This way, Lin Xian and the people from the Palace of Ares would definitely be safe. Although he was a challenger and could restrain the patriarch of the Duan family, there was still the patriarch of the Shun family beside him. With the relationship between the Shun family and the Duan family, they would definitely make a move when the time came. As a mere king tier, he wouldn't be able to resist so many of them. But now, with the Crimson Dragon, even if the Shun family's patriarch made a move, he would be able to handle it. Thinking of this, Din Xian revealed a smile. Then, he picked up the spirit tea in front of him with a relaxed expression and slowly sipped it. On the other hand, the patriarch of the Duan family's face was gloomy. He stared coldly at the Crimson Dragon, not hiding the killing intent in his eyes. Unexpected, this was too unexpected. He had arranged everything, but he didn't expect that it would be destroyed by a long snake. He couldn't accept this. However, what shocked him even more was that the other party didn't fear his suppression at all. This was because this gaze contained the powerful suppression of a challenger. Any martial artist below the challenger level, even a half-step challenger, wouldn't be able to withstand it. He wanted to use this method to kill the other party, but he didn't expect it to have no effect at all. The Crimson Dragon didn't care about these gazes, especially the killing intent of the patriarch of the Duan family. Now that he had recovered to the challenger level, he didn't fear these people anymore. Although he hadn't recovered to his peak state, with his current cultivation and strength, he could use many secret techniques of the dragon race. He didn't fear these challengers at all. In the next moment, he waved his dragon claws and shot out several streams of spirit energy into the bodies of the Ninth Elder and the other elders of the Palace of Gods of War, helping them stabilize their injuries. Lin Xian also took out some pills for them to consume. It took a long time for everyone to regain their senses. Then they burst out shouting in shock. The martial artists of the Duan family were even more enraged. At this moment, they finally couldn't take it anymore. The other party had actually killed one of their geniuses right under their noses. This was something they could not accept. Therefore, in the next moment, dozens of figures rose from the ground and charged towards Lin Xian. This time, there were a total of 10 peak Ninth Heaven Elders and 30 supremacies of the Ninth Heaven. When these people joined forces, they formed a terrifying aura. It was as if countless demons had appeared out of nowhere. The powerful aura caused a strong wind to blow in the entire valley. When these people joined forces, even a half-step challenger wouldn't be able to deal with them. Moreover, these people weren't fighting alone. Instead, they quickly formed a formation. Among them, 10 peak Ninth Heaven supremacies formed the Myriad Transformation Sword formation. Instantly, countless sword chi rushed out from these elders, forming a terrifying sword formation that enveloped Lin Xian. The other 39th Heaven supremacies formed the Universe Demon Subduing formation. Countless lightning bolts, strong winds, and flames surged out from these martial artists, forming a killing formation that also charged towards Lin Xian. When the two formations exploded, their energy was 10 times stronger than these martial artists. In an instant, they enveloped the entire valley. Ha, kid, go to hell. I'll use your blood to pay tribute to the heroic spirits of my Duan family. Angry roars rang out as terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Seeing this scene, everyone retreated in horror and raised their defenses to protect themselves. There was no choice. These two formations were too terrifying. The energy that they emitted made these martial artists feel despair. This was a joint attack formation that was specially used to kill enemies. In this formation, one could definitely erupt with 10 times more power than one's own. Moreover, it could be combined perfectly. It could be said to be an extremely powerful killing formation. Within the Myriad Transformation Sword formation, hundreds of sword chi soared into the sky. Like divine light, they flickered with an incomparably sharp aura. They covered the sky and instantly engulfed Lin Xian. On the other side, the Universe Demon Subduing formation exploded with unparalleled power. Countless bolts of lightning danced like wild dragons, directly shattering the void. Behind them, there were flames that filled the sky, countless wind blades, and terrifying ice. All sorts of powerful energy gathered at this moment, forming an inescapable net. In an instant, the two killing formations completely enveloped Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, everyone's mouths were wide open, and their scalps went numb. Chapter 1450. It's over, it's over. This time, Lin Xian is dead for sure. I'm afraid no one can withstand such a horrifying killing array. Yeah, no matter how strong he is, he's only one person. The Duan family has countless experts and such a magical killing array. When combined, they can unleash 10 times the power. No matter how strong that kid is, he can't resist. Everyone discussed while the martial honorables' lips curled into a cold smile. The Duan family's old ancestors' eyes flickered. Not only that, but the other 4 kings were also paying attention. Lin Xian's previous performance was too dazzling and completely exceeded their expectations. He had even surpassed young Master Anil and the others. Rumble, crack, crack, sword chi and lightning danced wildly. Horrifying energy exploded, causing the void in front of them to completely crack, forming terrifying black holes. Seeing this scene, those experts of the Duan clan finally looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Ha ha, die, kid. So what if you're strong? Aren't you just a vengeful spirit now? This is what you get for going against the Duan family. Humph. Not only are we going to kill you, but we're also going to kill everyone in the Palace of Ares. Let's see how you're going to stop us. Vicious voices rang out one after another, causing everyone's scalp to tingle and their hearts to palpitate. As for the ninth elder and the others, they had just recovered from their injuries. Seeing this scene, their faces instantly turned pale. They even gritted their teeth and charged forward again, wanting to risk their lives. The crimson dragon waved its claws, and as if it had cast a spell, it firmly restrained the ninth elder and the others. Then it said lazily, "Don't worry. That kid won't die. His strength is far beyond your imagination." This attack is nothing to him, although the crimson dragon's voice wasn't loud. It spread clearly in all directions. It could even be heard clearly under the thunderous roar. This attack, nothing to him? Everyone felt a headache coming. This was an extremely horrifying attack. No one below the King realm could withstand it. It was only because this valley had a super array that it wasn't destroyed. Even the void was blasted into black holes. They really couldn't think of anyone who could survive under such power. Terrifying energy exploded, blasting the void into one black hole after another, flickering indeterminately as if it was the entrance to the abyss of hell. Seeing this scene, the Duan clan's martial artists laughed wildly. In their opinion, the other party was dead for sure. This was because no one below the King realm could block such an attack. This is your strength? Do you have the right to be arrogant? How pitifully weak. However, at that moment, an ice-cold voice sounded from the berserk energy. What? This is impossible. Hearing this voice, everyone was stunned. The Duan clan's martial artists widened their eyes in disbelief. They could naturally tell that the voice belonged to Lin Xian, but how was that possible? How could he still be alive? Shouldn't he have been blown to smithereens by this violent energy? It must be an illusion. Maybe the spiritual energy just now was too strong, so it's an illusion. Many people comforted themselves. However, in the next moment, their eyelids twitched violently as they froze on the spot. That was because the terrifying energy vortex in front of him had suddenly split open, as if it had been split in half by a sword. And from that huge crack, a figure slowly walked out. What? It's Lin Xian. It was Lin Xian. His clothes were neat and tidy, without a trace of dust. How is this possible? This can't be real. I don't believe it. Seeing this, the Duan clan's martial artists roared wildly. How could the other party be unscathed after such a terrifying attack? How was that possible? They could not believe it. They were not the only ones. At that moment, everyone was stunned. Even the kings frowned as their eyes flickered. That was because the outcome was indeed beyond their expectations. At that moment, the martial venerable also reacted and roared wildly. Retreat! Retreat quickly! The Duan clan's martial artists felt their scalps go numb as they retreated madly. The other party was too strange. That was their full-powered attack, and no one below the King realm could withstand it. However, not only was the other party alive, but he was also safe and sound. He was not injured at all. That was too unbelievable. All of you, stay here. Lin Xian looked at the scene and snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, a golden heavenly rock flew out from his palm and quickly filled the entire sky. 108,000 swords The golden heavenly rock flapped its wings, and golden feathers turned into countless divine swords that flew in all directions. No, the Duan clan's martial artists felt their scalps go numb as they roared wildly and resisted with all their might. However, it was useless. In front of those golden swords, they were as weak as ants. The martial venerable roared furiously and attacked wildly. Beside him, a black tiger quickly appeared. Then he waved his hand, and the black tiger quickly pounced forward. "All right, I'll get rid of you today." Lin Xian roared and stomped his foot. His entire body turned into a sharp sword radiance and instantly charged forward. At the same time, the golden heavenly rock in the sky was still shining brightly. 108,000 golden swords swept across the entire valley. Puff, puff. In an instant, the Duan clan's martial artists were all pierced by the golden swords and nailed to the ground. The ground was instantly dyed red. Blood flowed, and a pungent smell of blood filled the air. Everyone went crazy and couldn't believe it. They could only retreat quickly for fear of being affected. "Ah, kid, I'll kill you." Seeing this, the martial venerable was furious. He stepped on the black tiger and charged out quickly. At the same time, a black pagoda appeared in his hand. It shone with a black light and was like a black mountain that crushed the void. At this moment, the martial venerable displayed his powerful combat strength and looked down on everyone. He was like a god of war as he charged towards Lin Xian. So strong, everyone was shocked. The martial venerable's aura was too terrifying. It had long surpassed the half-step king realm. It was even more terrifying than the joint attack of the Duan clan's martial artists. It was too terrifying. He was probably not far from the king realm. Everyone exclaimed. In an instant, the martial venerable had already arrived beside Lin Xian. His gaze was like lightning and carried a sharp light as it opened and closed. The black pagoda in his hand spun quickly and shot out rays of black light. The black tiger beneath his feet roared at the sky and opened its bloody mouth, easily tearing the void apart. In an instant, all kinds of attacks blasted towards Lin Xian. "Martial Venerable, right? I'll start with you today." Lin Xian snorted coldly. His expression was extremely cold. A green dragon's shadow appeared above his hand. It was like a real dragon and was extremely ferocious. Then he punched out. Boom. In the next moment, the terrifying palm collided with the black pagoda and the black tiger beneath his feet. An earth-shaking sound resounded. The terrifying sound resounded in all directions. Many martial artists in the surroundings had blood flowing out of their ears and kept retreating. Chapter 1451. Boom. In the next moment, the terrifying palm collided with the black pagoda and the black tiger, creating an earth-shattering sound. The terrifying sound reverberated in all directions. Many martial artists in the surroundings were bleeding from their ears and kept retreating. Terrifying. It was too terrifying. The array of the entire valley shook violently. It could not withstand the impact at all, and cracks began to appear in many places. However, there were 5 kings here, so there would not be any accidents. Immediately, Ancestor Morong and the other kings made their moves. Countless rays of light shot out and stabilized the entire valley. However, in the blink of an eye, the outcome of the battle had been decided. A blood-curdling scream was heard, followed by countless shattering sounds. What? The outcome has been decided? So fast. Everyone was shocked and looked over. The martial honorable was covered in blood and looked horrified as he quickly retreated. The pagoda in his hand was split in half, and the black tiger under his feet was killed by a single punch. At that moment, the martial honorable was in a sorry state. He was like a stray dog retreating quickly. What? How is this possible? Everyone saw this scene. They could not believe it. They had originally thought that Lin Xian would be the one to lose, but they had not expected the martial honorable to lose. Not only had he lost, but he had lost so miserably. One punch, just one punch, and the martial honorable was severely injured. Even the Dharma treasure in his hand was destroyed. His speed was even faster than Duan Yu's. Impossible. How can this kid be so powerful? At that moment, everyone's scalps went numb. They now realized that Lin Xian was too terrifying. His combat strength did not seem to be up to par. As the enemy's strength increased, Lin Xian's combat strength became even more powerful. This made everyone incomparably shocked. At that moment, even Ancestor Morong, the happy monarch, and the Shun family's patriarch frowned. Din Xian was also shocked. To be honest, Lin Xian's combat strength had far exceeded his expectations. You want to leave? Don't you think it's too late? Since the Duan family dared to attack the God of War palace, you should be prepared to be killed. Lin Xian shouted coldly. A green killing sword quickly formed in his hand and slashed forward. Kid, you're courting death. Seeing Wu Zun retreat with injuries while Lin Xian continued to attack, the Duan clan's patriarch could no longer hold back. He snorted coldly and stretched out his palm. Instantly, it formed a 5-finger mountain and enveloped Wu Zun. In an instant, the heavenly hand wrapped around Wu Zun and brought him back to the Duan clan's ancestors' side. All of this happened very quickly in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. By the time everyone regained their senses, the battle was already over. Only the heavily injured and bleeding martial honorable had a ferocious expression on his face. Impossible! How is this possible? I don't believe it! The marshal revered clutched his wound, his expression extremely sinister. He did not expect this at all, because even if you beat him to death, he did not believe that the other party could hurt him. It should be known that his strength had long since surpassed the half-step king realm and reached an inconceivable level. He might even become another king in the future. It could be said that there was practically no one below the king level who could go against him. But now he had been defeated. One punch, just one punch, and his opponent had severely injured him. Don't speak first. Consume the indestructible golden pill, the Duan clan's patriarch said in a deep voice. Hearing this, Wu Zun quickly consumed an indestructible golden pill, and the injuries on his body instantly healed. Then he glared fiercely at Lin Xian again. In fact, Duan Yu and a few other top experts had a chance to survive. As long as they consumed the indestructible golden pill, they could recover no matter how serious their injuries were. However, Lin Xian's methods were too fierce. In one move, everyone was killed, not giving them a chance to consume the indestructible golden pill. This time, it was the Duan clan's patriarch's intervention that saved the lives of the martial artists. Otherwise, the martial artist's fate would have been the same as those people killed in one move. Kid, I won't let you go. Wu Zun stared at Lin Xian and said in a sinister voice, Won't let me go? Think about yourself first. Do you really think that with this old dog helping you, you can escape safely? Lin Xian looked into the distance and sneered disdainfully. He did not intend to let the martial artists of the Duan clan escape. Humph, kid, don't be so arrogant. I didn't kill you because I don't want to fight with you, but you provoked me time and time again and killed countless experts of the Duan clan. No matter what, I won't let you go this time. The Duan clan's patriarch's voice was cold and carried the pressure of a king. Suddenly, the surrounding martial artists' hearts beat wildly, and their blood boiled. Some of the weaker martial artists even knelt on the ground. This was the pressure of a king. No one below the king level could resist it. Patriarch, please kill this thief and avenge the Duan clan. At this moment, countless disciples of the Duan clan knelt and shouted loudly. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. If the Duan clan's patriarch attacked, Lin Xian would definitely die. On the side of Senma College, many of the elders were also nervous. Dean Xian's eyes flickered, and she was ready to attack at any time to stop the Duan clan's patriarch. Lin Xian, on the other hand, sneered at the sky. "Kill me? Humph! Today, none of you from the Duan clan will leave." After saying that, Lin Xian's body swayed, and he charged forward. Once again, a green sword shadow formed in his hand, and he charged toward Wu Zun. "Kid, you're courting death." Wu Zun roared crazily when he saw that. On the side, the Duan clan's patriarch's face darkened. He did not expect that the other party would dare to attack. That was too arrogant. Therefore, at this moment, he no longer cared about his status as a king. He decided to attack decisively and kill the thief in front of him. The surrounding people's eyelids twitched in disbelief. They did not expect that Lin Xian would take the initiative to kill Wu Zun. Was he not courting death? After all, the Duan clan's patriarch was standing next to Wu Zun. That was a true king. Could it be that Lin Xian wanted to fight against a king? Everyone felt like they were dreaming. Even the other kings were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so bold as to provoke a king. Interesting. The happy monarch smiled. Patriarch Morong's eyes flickered, but he did not say anything. On the other hand, the Shun clan's patriarch snorted coldly. Obviously, he was not happy with Lin Xian's provocation of a king. Dean Xian was the most worried. He did not expect that Lin Xian would take the initiative to attack. That was too bold. Moreover, what shocked him even more was that Lin Xian's speed was too fast. By the time he reacted, Lin Xian was already in front of him. Even if he wanted to attack now, it would be too late. However, he gritted his teeth and decided to attack. In an instant, Dean Xian flew forward as well. Seeing that, the Shun clan's patriarch snorted coldly and disappeared on the spot as well. On the other side, Lin Xian had already arrived in front of Wu Zun. The dragon-shaped sword shadow in his hand slashed down quickly. Chapter 1452. On the other side, Lin Xian had already arrived in front of the martial honorable. The dragon-shaped sword in his hand slashed down quickly. As the sword energy slashed down, a black crack that was more than 100 feet long appeared in the void, emitting a terrifying aura. "You're courting death." This time, the patriarch of the Duan family was finally enraged. He took a step forward and stood in front of the martial honorable. Instantly, a terrifying king's aura rose from his body. Terrifying energy exploded in all directions like a flash flood. The entire valley trembled violently. Even with the array defense, a large crack appeared at this moment. Countless mountains collapsed, and huge rocks rolled down. It was a terrifying scene. This was the aura of a king. It was too terrifying. "Kid, die." The patriarch of the Duan family slapped out with the king's aura and quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. Behind him, the martial honorable revealed a sinister smile. "Humph, idiot kid, how dare you challenge a king? You're courting death. Although I can't kill you personally, I'll watch you die with my own eyes. Don't worry, after you die, I'll cut off your head and offer it to my 2 children. The martial honorable's expression was as ferocious as a demon. The surrounding people were even more shocked. With a king attacking, Lin Xian would definitely not be able to resist. Dean Xian was anxious and couldn't help but speed up. However, in the next moment, an old figure appeared in front of him and stopped him. "Dean Xian, where are you going?" "This is a matter of the Duan family. You'd better not interfere." At this critical moment, the patriarch of the Shun family appeared and stopped Dean Xian, preventing him from saving Lin Xian. Scram! Dean Xian was furious and unleashed a terrifying aura. The king's aura appeared again, pressing down on everyone on the ground. "Humph! Do you think I'm afraid of you? The patriarch of the Shin family roared and attacked as well. The two kings exchanged blows in the air. The terrifying thing was that a huge black crack appeared in the sky instantly. At the moment when the two of them exchanged blows, the patriarch of the Duan family's palm slammed heavily on Lin Xian's body. Boom. In the next moment, a terrifying explosion of energy directly turned the void into nothingness. One black hole after another quickly appeared and swallowed everything around it. No. When the ninth elder and the other elders from the palace of Ares saw this scene, they let out heart-wrenching screams. Dean Xian's face darkened as she shouted, "Get lost!" His entire body erupted with unparalleled power. He was like a peerless divine sword that was instantly unsheathed. The terrifying aura caused the entire sky to rapidly collapse. However, on the other side, the patriarch of the Shen clan sneered. Similarly, a violent energy gushed out from his body, resisting the Dean of Hengshuan. "Hee, I won't let you pass." The patriarch of the Shen family said coldly. On the other side, the happy monarch and ancestor Murong's eyes flickered. They had no intention of joining the fight. Just when everyone thought that Lin Xian was finished, another change occurred. Two more miserable screams came from the terrifying black hole in front of them. Then a figure flew out. Boom. The figure was like a cannonball, crashing into the mountain. Instantly, countless mountains collapsed, boulders rolled down, and the ground cracked open. Because the speed was too fast, no one could see clearly who was sent flying. However, they guessed that it should be Lin Xian. However, very soon, these people were stunned because another figure fell from the sky. This person had dozens of sword chi on his body. They were extremely sharp and blood was flowing. He looked extremely ferocious. Boom. The figure landed and was nailed to the ground by the sword chi. What? Wu Xun! How is this possible? When the people saw the figure, their minds instantly exploded. They did not expect that the person nailed to the ground was Wu Xun. Wasn't he protected by the patriarch of the Duan family? How could he be killed? Everyone's mind went blank. They could not believe it. Wu Xun was the top expert below the challenger level. He was also known as the person who was most likely to become the next challenger. It could be said that he was very dazzling. He was the future hope of the Duan family. However, at this moment, he was nailed to the ground by countless sword chi. He could not be more dead. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that the last scene they saw was the patriarch of the Duan family protecting Wu Xun. Logically speaking, if a challenger took action, there would be no danger. However, the current situation was beyond everyone's expectations. Could it be that the person who was sent flying was the patriarch of the Duan family? At this moment, this thought suddenly appeared in everyone's mind. However, when this thought appeared, countless people immediately shook their heads. They could not believe it. No, it can't be. How is this possible? Wu Xun was a real challenger. How could a young man in his 20s defeat a challenger? Everyone could not believe it. Even Patriarch Morong and the happy monarch frowned. In the sky, Dean Xian and the patriarch of the Shen family stopped their attacks at the same time. They looked at the ruins in shock. To be honest, both of them were very nervous. Dean Xian was worried about Lin Xian. However, the patriarch of the Shen family was even more afraid that the patriarch of the Duan family was the one who was sent flying. If that was really the case, then the situation was very strange. A challenger was sent flying by a young man in his 20s. In the history of the Tianwu continent, this had never happened before. Very quickly, they knew the result, because the ruins in front of them had exploded and turned into dust. An old figure walked out of the ruins. He was tall and had a head of white hair. He wore a red robe and emitted a terrifying aura. Everyone could only look up to him. What? The patriarch of the Duan family. Everyone opened their eyes wide in disbelief. They had never imagined that the person who was sent flying would actually be the patriarch of the Duan family. This was truly too shocking. After all, the patriarch of the Duan family was a true challenger. He was the existence at the peak of the entire continent. How could he be sent flying by someone? However, it had really happened. Everyone felt that their brains were not enough to comprehend it. Even the other four challengers had solemn expressions. Their eyes were filled with dense doubt. To be honest, even though the patriarch of the Duan family had just entered the king realm and his strength was slightly inferior to theirs, he was still a challenger. Advancing from the Exalt realm to the king realm was like a carp leaping over the dragon gate. Once one reached the gazing realm, one's strength would undergo a tremendous change. It could be said that the gap between the king realm and the Exalt realm was like the gap between heaven and earth. It was impossible to cross. However, now, an Exalt realm kid had actually sent a king realm expert flying. This was truly too shocking. Wait, an Exalt realm expert is absolutely unable to go against a king realm expert. Ancestor Morong had a solemn expression as he swiftly shook his head. There's something wrong with that kid. He really didn't believe that an Exalt realm expert could defeat a king realm expert because the gap between their strengths was more than 100 times. What did you say? Could it be that kid has entered the king realm? How could that be possible? The patriarch of the Shun family shook his head madly and had an expression of disbelief. This was too shocking. After all, she was only around the age of 20, and there had probably never been someone who had entered the king realm at such an age. Chapter 1453. Not to mention the Shun clan's ancestor, even the Merry King and Dean Xiangast. All of them had entered the king realm after the age of 500, and the better ones were around 600 or 700 years old. Almost all of them had only succeeded when they were over 1,000 years old. Just this obviously showed how difficult it was to enter the king realm. But now, someone told them that a 20-year-old young man had entered the king realm, and they wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. Where's that kid? At this moment, the Merry King had restrained his smile, and his handsome face was covered in a solemn expression. His clear eyes were like thunderbolts as they swept through the surroundings. In next to no time, he locked onto the area ahead. There was an enormous black hole there that was slowly vanishing, and it was the damage caused by the Duan clan's ancestor's palm strike. The Duan clan's ancestor's face was terrifyingly gloomy. Truthfully speaking, he didn't believe that such a situation would occur at all. After all, he was a king realm expert, and no one in the world could compare to him. Besides the four people that had entered the king realm before him, he didn't take the others seriously at all. As for someone like Lin Xian, he was confident that he could crush Lin Xian with a single finger. However, he'd never imagined that he would actually be blasted flying, and this caused him to be on the verge of exploding with rage. Impossible. This is absolutely not his strength. Damn it. Could it be that this kid brought help? The Duan clan's ancestor's face was livid, and his entire body trembled with rage. Being blasted flying by a 20-year-old young man caused him to feel ashamed, and he would probably become a laughingstock on the continent in the future. So, in the next moment, he roared furiously while light erupted from his eyes, and it formed into a ray of divine light that swept through the surroundings. Kid, I'll kill you, no matter what help you have. You won't be able to escape death today. The Duan clan's ancestor had a savage expression, and his aura was terrifying. His entire body was covered in monstrous baleful chi, and he was like a peerless devil king that was terrifying to the extreme. Humph! A cold grunt resounded from the black hole ahead, and then countless rays of sword light instantly lit up. The terrifying rays of sword light carried a piercingly cold aura as they shot into the nine heavens, and they instantly slashed apart all the black holes in the surroundings. Old dog of the Duan clan, today is the day you die. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered with the wind as he stood in midair like a god of war. What's that? At the next moment, everyone looked up at the sky and cried out in shock. They discovered that there was a green domain within 30 meters of Lin Xian. Countless sword chi surged within it, and it was terrifying to the extreme. As for Ancestor Morong, the happy king, and the other four people, their pupils contracted, and their faces were filled with shock. King Domain, how is this possible? Damn it, is he a king tier? It can't be, right? He's already broken through? Cries of surprise rang out one after another. These voices all came from the 5 king tiers. Hearing the king's exclamation, the surrounding martial artists were even more shocked and stunned. What? That cyan sword light domain is a king domain. King's domain? Isn't that something that only kings can possess? How could Lin Xian have it? Could it be that he's already a king? Everyone was shocked once again. As for young Master Anil, young Master Moonwalker, and young Master Qilin, their faces turned pale and their bodies began to tremble. King's domain. His opponent actually had a king's domain. How could this be? Especially young Master Qilin. A deep sense of fear appeared in his eyes. As a genius of the House of Kings, he naturally knew what a king's domain meant. However, he did not dare to believe it at all. A young man in his 20s, who was even younger than him, could actually become a king tier. This completely overturned his understanding. It was laughable that he had been dismissive of this before. Thinking of this, cold sweat flowed down his entire body. The other 2 young masters also twitched the corners of their mouths. They could not believe it. As for the Duan family martial artists, they were even more horrified and frightened. King's domain? This is impossible. The Duan family's ancestors' pupils contracted, as if he had seen a ghost. He screamed loudly. He had just broken through to become a king tier, so he naturally knew how difficult it was to break through. One had to know that he was now more than 1,000 years old and had just become a king tier. He knew very well how difficult it was to break through. However, how could a young man in his 20s become a king tier? This was no longer a genius. This was definitely a demon. No way. This kind of person. He could not be allowed to live. Otherwise, he would be a nightmare for the Duan family in the future. The Duan family's ancestor felt a chill in his heart, and his expression was ferocious. That was because he realized that the young man in front of him had completely exceeded his expectations. He was too terrifying. He had to get rid of him to prevent future troubles. Brat, I want you dead. The Duan family's ancestor's expression was terrifying as he roared crazily. In the next moment, countless golden mists rushed out of his body and formed a special golden domain around him. Now, his heart was overflowing with killing intent, so he immediately used his strongest domain and decided to kill Lin Xian. Golden Domain, Ancestor Morong, and the others also narrowed their eyes. To be honest, it was their first time seeing the Duan family's ancestor's domain. Humph. Let me see if that brat really has a king's domain. The Shen family's ancestor's voice was cold. To be honest, he still did not believe it, and thought that it was Lin Xian's trick. However, in the next moment, his eyelids twitched wildly, and his expression became abnormally ugly. That was because Lin Xian and the Duan family's ancestor had already begun to fight in front of him. The Duan family's ancestor used his golden domain and emitted a terrifying aura. He roared angrily, and a pair of golden wings appeared on his back, carrying him over quickly. Boom! In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Lin Xian and grabbed forward with his large hand. Suddenly, the surrounding golden domain vibrated, and a large golden hand flew out and grabbed at Lin Xian. This large golden hand was extremely terrifying. There were countless golden patterns on it, and it emitted a mysterious aura. Those below the king level could not resist this large golden hand at all. On the other hand, Lin Xian let out a cold laugh as he pointed his finger forward like a sword. Suddenly, the dragon sword domain around him hummed, and countless sword chi quickly condensed and swung out along with his arm. The dragon-shaped sword chi was as heavy as a mountain and as cold as the cold wind. It was extremely terrifying and instantly slashed forward. Poof! The entire void was instantly cut in half. It was a terrifying scene. Everyone only saw a green dragon fly out from Lin Xian's fingertip and charge into the sky. Then it roared and attacked the Duan family's ancestor. The sword chi was like a real dragon, and it made people's hearts palpitate. Clang! In the next moment, the dragon-shaped sword chi collided with the large golden hand, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The entire valley completely exploded at this moment. The ground cracked, and the valley was split in half. Dozens of black cracks appeared in the sky. These were spatial cracks that were extremely terrifying and contained extremely powerful energy. At this moment, they were all around Lin Xian and the Duan family's ancestor. What? He blocked it! Seeing this scene, the king's hearts beat wildly. The Duan family's ancestor's expression also became extremely ugly. He knew that Lin Xian's dragon sword domain was not illusory, nor was it a trick. It was a true king's domain. Otherwise, it would be impossible to block his attack. I don't believe it. Go to hell. Chapter 1454. The Duan family's patriarch's face turned ugly. He knew that Lin Xian's dragon sword realm was not illusory, nor was it a trick. It was a true king's realm. Otherwise, it would not have been able to block his attack. I don't believe it. Go to hell. The Duan family's patriarch went crazy. He stood in the golden realm, and his entire body was wrapped in golden mist, forming a golden armor. His originally gray pupils turned golden and emitted 2 golden rays of light that pierced through the void. He waved his golden fist again and smashed it towards Lin Xian. The fist grew bigger with the wind and eventually became like a golden mountain, pushing through the void. Waves of air rolled, and the air exploded. The golden waves were like a real sea, surging in all directions. Humph! Lin Xian snorted again, and directly used the great dragon sword soul to create all things. Suddenly, a black figure appeared in the dragon sword realm and sat there cross-legged. Its entire body was formed by black flames. It was Lin Xian's black flame, martial soul. The black flame martial soul burned and turned into a black phoenix that rushed out. The huge figure rampaged in the air, and a terrifying heat wave spread in all directions. Suddenly, the entire valley burned violently. The sky and the ground were filled with black flames in all directions. The Duan family's warriors below were wrapped in the flames and screamed. Under such black flames, they had no power to resist. However, these were only the flames that fell from the Black Phoenix. One could imagine how terrifying the Black Phoenix was. Kid, you're courting death. The Duan family's patriarch roared crazily. He naturally realized that hundreds of his Duan family's disciples had died in an instant. His heart was bleeding. However, he had no time to spare because the Black Phoenix was still rushing over. It carried monstrous black flames and quickly blasted towards him. Boom, boom. The intense collision shook heaven and earth. Endless waves of black flames surged out, and the terrifying black flames seemed to ignite the golden realm. Get lost! The Duan family's patriarch roared and crazily pushed the golden realm. Immediately, dozens of large golden hands appeared in the sky and quickly slapped in all directions, extinguishing the black flames. Before the Duan clan's patriarch could heave a sigh of relief, another terrifying attack came at him. Within Lin Xian's dragon sword domain, another lightning figure appeared and sat cross-legged. This was Lin Xian's lightning martial soul. In the next moment, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning, forming a gigantic Qiongqi that stood tall in the sky and cracked the void. A roar reverberated for thousands of miles. The clouds in the sky split apart, and the surrounding mountains exploded. It was terrifying to the extreme. "Retreat!" the surrounding martial artists screamed, as if they had gone mad. This was because they discovered that the battle was too terrifying. Everywhere was filled with berserk energy. They could only quickly retreat to a safe place. However, no one left. They hid in the distance and watched the battle again. Because this was too shocking and too exciting, they might not be able to witness a battle between two kings in their lifetime. If they missed this opportunity, they might not have another chance in the future. In the sky, Qiongqi's gigantic body was completely formed by purple and white lightning. As he walked, countless lightning bolts spread across the sky. "Kill!" The gigantic Qiongqi stood in the void and let out a terrifying roar. Then he lifted his gigantic lightning foot and stomped on the Duan family's patriarch. "You've gone too far. I'm going to kill you." The Duan family's patriarch went mad. His eyes emitted a golden light that was like a sharp knife that cut through the void. His golden realm was also operating rapidly. Then a golden giant rose from the ground and fought against Qiongqi. Boom, boom, boom. The two gigantic creatures exchanged blows in the sky. The terrifying energy caused the sky to explode. The Duan family's patriarch went completely mad. He realized that his opponent was too powerful, and he could not suppress him. He could not believe it. One had to know that his opponent was only in his 20s. He was more than 1,000 years old, yet his opponent's strength far exceeded his. He could not accept it. Lin Xian became more courageous as the battle went on. "You've gone too far. When you stole the God of War palace and killed my martial artists, did you think of going too far? You only have yourself to blame for everything that happened today." Lin Xian snorted. Then he waved his arm. Countless green sword chi surrounded him and formed a gigantic green sword. Qiongqi held it in his hand and slashed down. Boom! A beam of cyan sword light, thousands of meters long, swept across like a long cyan river. Suddenly, countless green sword chi surrounded the sky. It was as if the entire sky had turned into a green ocean. In the next moment, the terrifying green sword light swept across the golden giant and split it in half. Boom! As for the Duan family's patriarch, he was sent flying again, as if he had been struck by lightning. What? He was sent flying again. Everyone was shocked. They could not believe it. Even Patriarch Morong and the other kings' mouths twitched. One had to know that being sent flying this time was different from the previous time. The previous time, the Duan family's patriarch was careless. It was equivalent to being ambushed. That was why he was sent flying. But now, the Duan family's patriarch had used his king's domain and attacked with all his strength, yet he was still sent flying. This was too shocking. This meant that not only did his opponent have a king's domain, but his strength had also surpassed the Duan family's patriarch. Thinking of this, everyone's scalps went numb. They could not believe it. Patriarch Morong Din Xian and the others looked solemn. That's not right. Did you notice that this kid doesn't have a king's aura? The happy monarch said with a frown. Yes, that's true. Patriarch Morong nodded. He had also noticed this abnormality. Logically speaking, all kings had an aura called king's aura. However, Lin Xian did not have such an aura. It was indeed strange. What? You mean that kid isn't a king? The Shun family's patriarch frowned. If he isn't a king, Where did his king's domain come from? Ding Xian was also deep in thought. He could not understand. This was too strange. Someone who was not a king could condense a king's domain. This was something that was impossible. However, the other party had done it. It was extremely strange. Should we attack and capture this kid? The Shun family's patriarch said with a cold expression. This kid is too strange. Maybe he has some shocking secret on him. If we capture him and study him, we might be able to have a few more kings for our family. As he finished speaking, a hint of passion appeared in his eyes. He could not help but be tempted. If the other party really had a way to condense a king's domain, then their family would definitely be able to have a few more kings. This way, their family strength would be greatly increased. Humph, you can try. Ding Xian snorted coldly. Her cold gaze fell on the Shun family's patriarch. Chapter 1455. Humph, you can try. Ding Xian snorted coldly as her cold gaze fell upon the patriarch of the Shun family. She would not allow the Shun family's patriarch to attack. The Shun family's patriarch waved his sleeve and ignored Ding Xian. Instead, he turned around and spoke to Patriarch Morong and the Happy King. The two of you shouldn't hesitate. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't you want to know what secrets that brat has? That's the secret to condensing a king domain. If we come, we might be able to break through again. Break through again. The Happy King and Patriarch Morong's eyelids twitched when they heard that. If the previous reason had made them hesitate, they could not help but be tempted by this reason. After all, they had been in the king realm for a long time, but they had not been able to break through and had reached a bottleneck. Perhaps they would not be able to break through in their lifetime. But now they had a glimmer of hope. They could not help but be tempted. After all, breaking through to a higher realm would not only increase one's strength, but also increase one's lifespan. That was the most tempting. Thus, at that moment, Ancestor Morong and the Happy King both revealed tempted expressions. Ding Xian's face fell, and her heart thumped. Oh no! He could see that the Happy King and Patriarch Morong were tempted. If the three of them joined forces, he would not be able to resist them. Are you two really willing to do such a despicable thing? Ding Xian asked coldly. Despicable? How is this despicable? Don't you want to extend your lifespan? Gain strength? The Shun family's patriarch snorted coldly. Ding Xian and the Shun family's patriarch started to argue. At the same time, the situation of the battle changed again. After the Duan family's patriarch was sent flying, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He could not believe that a 20-year-old youth could injure him. Moreover, it was under the circumstances that he had used his full strength. Ah, kid, you forced me to do this. I want you dead. The Duan family's patriarch roared madly, and a trace of ferocity appeared in his eyes. Obviously, he was going to use a secret technique and attack at all costs. Sure enough, in the next moment, the Duan family's patriarch waved his hand and formed a strange seal. Then the golden domain around him started to burn. The golden mist transformed into streaks of golden flames that burned fiercely, releasing unparalleled power. The Duan clan's patriarch's aura suddenly skyrocketed, and it was twice as powerful as before. What? Burning domain! The four king tiers stopped their debate, and their pupils abruptly contracted. Was this fellow crazy? The domain was the foundation of a king. However, the Duan family's old ancestor was actually burning his domain. This was destroying his own foundation. Even if he won, he would probably suffer heavy injuries, and he might even fall back to the king realm. This was definitely a method of harming the enemy at the cost of 800 of his own men. The Duan family's patriarch knew this as well, but there was nothing he could do. Previously, he had used his full strength, but he was still not a match for the other party. If this continued, he would be killed sooner or later. He might as well ignite the burning domain and risk his life. Perhaps he might still have a sliver of hope. At this moment, the old master of the Duan family burned his domain, and his entire body became stronger. In the next moment, he attacked Lin Xian fiercely. His messy hair fluttered in the wind, and flames surrounded him, making it impossible to look at him directly. Terrifying energy fluctuations were everywhere, causing the entire void to shake violently. Not only that, but the Duan family's patriarch was also wearing a golden armor. He pulled out a golden longsword from his golden domain and slashed in all directions. This was the power of the burning domain. It was extremely terrifying, and even ordinary one-star king tiers could not contend against it. A golden sword light flashed, accompanied by countless golden flames, and rushed towards Lin Xian. Wherever it passed, the entire void was quickly annihilated. With a thought, Lin Xian's starry battle armor quickly appeared on his body. This time, he did not take the attack head-on because the power of the burning domain was too terrifying. He did not dare to take it head-on. However, this did not mean that he was afraid of the other party. This was because although his body had not reached the king realm, his combat strength had already surpassed the Duan family's patriarch. Moreover, ever since he killed the Black Dragon sex leader, he had not stopped cultivating. Therefore, his strength was much stronger than when he was in the Tianan region. Lightning runes flickered under his feet, and Lin Xian moved quickly, dodging the terrifying golden sword light. "Kid, are you afraid? Go to hell." Seeing that his opponent had dodged, the Duan family's patriarch revealed a trace of malevolence. He knew that he had succeeded because when he fought with Lin Xian before, the other party had never dodged and had always taken it head-on. Now that he had dodged, it meant that the other party was afraid of this power. While the power was still there, he would kill him in one fell swoop. The Duan family's patriarch smiled sinisterly, and then the golden flames on his body became even more monstrous. Rays of golden sword chi surged like divine rainbows and quickly enveloped Lin Xian. "Kid, I don't know how you obtained the king realm, but you can't compare to a real king. Now, die." Hundreds of golden sword lights arrived above Lin Xian and were about to slash down. If he was hit, his flesh and blood would definitely splatter everywhere. Even a god would not be able to save him. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a green dragon-shaped sword shadow quickly appeared beside him. In the next moment, he grabbed it. Roar! A loud dragon roar sounded, and a huge green dragon instantly rushed out of the dragon sword realm, looking disdainfully in all directions. This dragon roar was too loud, and it directly reverberated through thousands of miles. Countless thunderclaps sounded in the void, descending in all directions. As for the Azure Dragon, it soared into the sky and blasted away all of the golden sword chi above. "What? This is impossible." The Duan family's patriarch was shocked and could not believe it. His opponent's strength had become stronger again? How was this possible? Could it be that he had been hiding his strength before? Thinking of this, his heart thumped wildly. He really could not believe it. His current strength was obtained by burning his king realm, but his opponent's strength had suddenly skyrocketed. What was going on? His opponent did not burn his king realm. The only explanation was that his opponent had not used his full strength before. Thinking of this, despair appeared in the Duan family's patriarch's eyes. His opponent was too powerful. Even if he burned his king realm, he still could not do anything to his opponent. This was an outcome that he had never imagined in his life. On the other hand, Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his entire body exuded an extremely terrifying battle intent. He was like a god of war. The dragon pattern under his feet rose, and a green dragon quickly appeared. Within the dragon sword realm, tens of thousands of swords roared. In his hand, there was a dragon-shaped sword shadow, and his entire person could be said to be extremely powerful. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul was displayed to the extreme by Lin Xian, brilliant heavenly might. A sword chi like a divine sword slashed into the sky, instantly enveloping the Duan family's patriarch. At this moment, not only was the Duan family's patriarch in despair, but even the Morong family's patriarch, the Happy King, the Shen family's patriarch, and Dean Xian were shocked. This was because this aura was too terrifying, and even they felt a sense of fear. Chapter 1456. Poof. In the next moment, the Duan family's patriarch was struck by the shocking sword chi and was sent flying. Blood splattered across the sky as the void cracked open. The terrifying crack extended for thousands of miles. A bottomless abyss appeared on the ground. The Duan family's patriarch was blasted into the ground. No one knew if he was dead or alive. After a long time, the terrifying vibrations gradually disappeared. The Duan family's patriarch's body was trembling. He was severely injured. Beside him, the golden domain was very dim, as if it would shatter at any time. The Duan family's patriarch, lay on the ground with a face full of despair. His lips trembled, and he could not speak. Despair. It was too much despair. He could not resist this power at all. It was not only despair in terms of strength, but also despair in terms of spirit. Originally, he had just broken through to become an overlord, and was in high spirits, thinking that he could dominate the entire continent. However, he did not expect that he would be severely injured and almost die. The feeling of falling from the clouds into the abyss was too unbearable. He could not bear it at all. Thinking of this, the Duan family's patriarch vomited blood again. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's face was cold. He held the killing sword in his hand and stepped into the air, walking toward the Duan family's patriarch step by step. What are you trying to do? Seeing this, everyone's scalps went numb and they were dumbfounded. The Duan family's elders quickly flew over to stop Lin Xian. Our patriarch has already lost. Why are you still attacking? That's right. The competition is over. Don't push your luck. Although the Duan family's martial artists were terrified, they could only bite the bullet and come forward now that their patriarch's safety was at stake. The competition is over? Lin Xian sneered. Who told you that this was a competition? This matter will not end until the Duan family's old dog dies. Lin Xian snorted. 2 balls of black flames appeared in his eyes and instantly enveloped the people in front of him. With a scream, the Duan family's elders were burned to ashes. Seeing this, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. The remaining Duan family members did not dare to step forward again. In the sky, the Shun family's patriarch snorted. This is your last chance. If the 2 of you don't attack now, I'm afraid you won't be able to catch that kid again. After saying that, his figure flashed and disappeared in the air. How dare you? Headmaster Xian snorted and quickly chased after him. Ancestor Morong and the Happy King looked at each other and quickly attacked as well. Whoosh, whoosh. The next moment, 4 figures appeared in midair, blocking the path again. What? Someone else is attacking? Seeing this scene, no one dared to believe it. Who would dare to stop Lin Xian now? However, when they saw the 4 figures in the sky, they were all stunned. Because these 4 figures were none other than the 4 patriarchs of the Shen family. 4 king tiers. The appearance of the 4 shocked everyone. Lin Xian furrowed his brows when he saw this. Brat, you're too arrogant. The patriarch of the Shun family stared at Lin Xian with a gloomy gaze. His voice was piercingly cold. At the side, Ancestor Morong and the Happy King's figures also appeared. As for Headmaster Xian, she appeared beside Lin Xian. Be careful. They might attack you, Headmaster Xian quickly said. Hearing this, Lin Xian frowned and looked ahead. Get lost. This is between me and the Duan family. Lin Xian stared at the patriarch of the Shen family and scolded him coldly. What? Hearing this voice, everyone's scalp went numb. They could not believe it. Lin Xian dared to scold the patriarch of the Shen family? He was truly audacious. The patriarch of the Shen family was trembling with anger. Brat, you're too arrogant. I'm not a new king tier like Duan Wang. If you offend me, you won't have a good ending. Indeed, the patriarch of the Shen family was not like the patriarch of the Duan family. He had become a king tier a few hundred years ago. Until now, his strength was unfathomable. At the side, the happy king shook his head slightly. Young man, you should know when to stop. The patriarch of the Morong family also sighed. Enough is enough. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. They could not believe it. They did not expect the three kings to attack Lin Xian at the same time. Could it be that they wanted to protect the patriarch of the Duan family? Seeing this, the martial artists of the Duan family were excited. The patriarch of the Duan family, who was in the ruins below, also heaved a sigh of relief. He quickly took out an indestructible golden elixir and swallowed it. Then, the injuries on his body healed. However, the golden territory was still very dim. It could not be helped. Although the indestructible golden elixir was magical, it could not restore the king territory. Seeing that the three kings had attacked, Shen Jingqiu was very nervous. Her small hands clutched the corner of her clothes tightly. On the other side, Murong Qingcheng exclaimed, Patriarch! She did not expect the patriarch of the Murong family to attack. At the side, the elders of the Murong family shook their heads and sighed. Qingcheng, this is the patriarch's decision. We can't change it. Murong Qingcheng, on the other hand, sighed. To be honest, she was not worried about Lin Xian's safety. Instead, she was worried about the safety of the patriarch of the Murong family. This was because she had followed Lin Xian all this time. She knew about Lin Xian's strength and background. The three kings in the sky could not stop Lin Xian at all. Indeed, in the next moment, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. Looking at the three kings of the Shen family in front of him, he said coldly, Are you really going to stop me? Kid, I admit that you are very powerful. However, you have no right to behave so atrociously in front of us. The patriarch of the Shen family snorted disdainfully. His expression was unusually cold. A terrifying aura was emitted from his body. This aura was much more terrifying than the patriarch of the Duan family, who was burning his territory. From this, it could be seen that the patriarch of the Shen family was extremely powerful. Kid, let's not talk about the fact that you are no match for me. Just the number of kings on your side is not enough. Including old man Xian, you only have 2 people. However, we have 3. There is even the patriarch of the Duan family. 4 kings. Do you think you have a chance of winning? Young man, stop. The Murong family patriarch shook his head and sighed. The happy monarch also said coldly, If you continue fighting, you have no chance of winning. The patriarch of the Shen family looked ferocious. Kid, let go of the patriarch of the Duan family and come back with me obediently. Otherwise, you will end up in a miserable state. Go back with you? Let go of the patriarch of the Duan family? Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around? Hearing the words of the patriarch of the Shen family, Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. What? You dare to resist? The patriarch of the Shen family was stunned. He could not believe his ears. He did not expect that Su Xiaoshu would dare to resist. One had to know that they had an absolute advantage over Su Xiaoshu. Regardless of whether it was a one-on-one battle or the number of kings, they could easily crush Lin Xian. However, Su Xiaoshu still dared to scold him. Was he not afraid of death? The martial artists around them were also shocked. They understood the current situation. However, they did not expect Lin Xian to be so arrogant. He did not take the patriarch of the Shun family and the others seriously. Chapter 1457. It's over, it's over. Lin Xian is too arrogant. First, he defeated the Duan family's patriarch, and now he's fighting the Shun family's patriarch. Yeah, he's too arrogant. The Shun family's patriarch became a king a few hundred years ago. His strength is terrifying. How can that brat defeat him? Other than the Shun family's patriarch, there's also Patriarch Morong and the Happy King. That's 3 kings. Together with the Duan family's patriarch on the ground, that's 4 kings. Lin Xian, that brat. How dare he speak so arrogantly? Everyone was shocked. They all thought that Lin Xian was crazy. They didn't know where Lin Xian's confidence came from. In everyone's opinion, Lin Xian was really crazy. How dare he fight 3 kings? Wasn't he courting death? The Duan family's patriarch smiled sinisterly. Lin Xian still wanted to kill him. He deserved to die. However, Lin Xian had no chance. With the help of the Shun family's patriarch, he was absolutely safe. In the sky, the Shun family's patriarch smiled cruelly. Brat, since you're so stubborn, don't blame me for being impolite. As he spoke, he took a step forward. His aura suddenly exploded, and the entire sky surged. A huge beam of light gushed out from the Shun family's patriarch and pierced through the sky. A terrifying energy storm swept out in all directions. Opposite him, Din Xian's expression was solemn. He quickly said, Lin Xian, now's not the time to be stubborn. Leave with me quickly. If you're caught by them, you'll be in danger. The Shun family's patriarch is too sinister. He wants to know your secrets. Hearing that, Lin Xian frowned. He looked at the Shun family's patriarch with a murderous look in his eyes. How dare the Shun family's patriarch target him? He was really courting death. However, he didn't run away. Instead, he shook his head slightly. Don't worry, Din Xian. I have a way to deal with it. Din Xian wanted to say something, but Lin Xian waved his hand and said, Rizalong, Nine-Tailed, you two come here. Ha ha ha. After waiting for so long, Ben Huang is finally here. The Crimson Dragon laughed strangely. 9 tails jumped out of Morong Qingqing's arms and flew into the sky reluctantly. Everyone was stunned. They didn't understand what a fox and a 4-legged snake could do. Din Xian was also confused, but seeing Lin Xian's confident look, he didn't say anything. The patriarch of the Shun family sneered disdainfully. Brat, you really are an idiot. Do you really think that you can scare us with a fox and a 4-legged snake? There was a look of disdain on his face as he said, Unless these two are king tiers, how are you going to defeat me? Hearing this, the Duan clan's ancestor coldly snorted in disdain. The surrounding Duan clan's cultivators all sneered. The fox and the snake were kings? How was that possible? Did he think that king tiers were cabbages that would appear whenever he wanted? However, the Crimson Dragon was displeased. Old man, I'll remember you. Ben Huang will teach you a lesson later. With that, he let out a long roar. Suddenly, a loud dragon roar resounded in all directions. Then, under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the Crimson Dragon's body burst out with a bright light. The 1-meter-long body quickly expanded and became a divine dragon that was hundreds of feet long. A red divine dragon appeared in the sky, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It coiled around the clouds and spat out fog. Its expression was extremely ferocious. A terrifying aura was emitted from its body. Its aura was not any weaker than the patriarch of the Shun family. What? A divine dragon? A king? At this moment, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that an unassuming 4-legged snake would be a legendary divine dragon, and a king tier at that. This was too shocking. One had to know that this was a new king tier. How many kings were there in the Tianwu continent? Every time one of them appeared, it was an earth-shattering event. However, they never knew that another king-tier divine dragon had appeared. And it was a divine dragon. It was even more mysterious. That was a legendary creature. On this continent, there were only flood dragons. A real dragon had never appeared before, but now one had appeared. Everyone was in an uproar. They exclaimed in disbelief. Looking at the huge figure in the sky, they were extremely shocked. What? How is this possible? Below, the smile on the patriarch of the Duan family's face disappeared. His expression became abnormally ferocious. He didn't expect that the other party had really summoned another king-tier, and it was a divine dragon. This wasn't good news for him. 3 against 3. Their side didn't have much of an advantage. Din Xian was also shocked. As expected, the other party had recovered. As for the patriarch of the Shun family, Patriarch Morong, and the Happy King, they were extremely shocked. They didn't expect another king-tier to appear, and it was a divine dragon. Especially the patriarch of the Shun family, his expression was extremely ugly. He had just mocked the other party, thinking that the other party was dead for sure, and would definitely not be able to escape from their hands. But he didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, a king-tier would appear on the other party's side. Now, the strength of both parties was almost the same. After all, the patriarch of the Duan family didn't have much combat strength now. But the patriarch of the Shun family was too naive. This was not the end. After the crimson dragon transformed, the nine-tailed fox snorted coldly and then roared. Roar. The terrifying roar resounded through heaven and earth, bringing with it a strong, murderous aura. In the next moment, the cute body suddenly expanded and turned into a red mountain-like giant beast. The 9 tails waved in the wind like a blood river, bringing with it a monstrous, murderous aura. At this moment, the 9-tailed fox no longer looked cute. Instead, it was replaced by a ferocious look. What? Another king-tier? Everyone's faces were pale and on the verge of collapse. This time, Din Xian, the patriarch of the Duan family, and the patriarch of the Shun family, Patriarch Morong, and the Happy King were all stunned. They didn't expect that another king-tier would appear. That was too heaven-defying. When did so many kings appear in the Tianwu continent? Why didn't they know about it? Especially the patriarch of the Shun family and the patriarch of the Duan family. Their faces were terrifyingly gloomy. The patriarch of the Duan family was in despair. It was over. He had just grasped the straw of hope, but now he had fallen into the endless abyss again. There were 4 kings on the other side, and they had already surpassed them. With the strength of the patriarch of the Shun family and the others, they might not be able to stop them. Now that he was seriously injured, he couldn't defeat the kings. He didn't expect that he would die in the end. Patriarch Morong and the Happy King were shocked. They didn't expect that the other side had really found 2 kings. As for the patriarch of the Shun family, his body was trembling and his teeth were about to shatter. It was a slap in the face, a ruthless slap in the face, and it was swollen. Thinking of what he had said before, the patriarch of the Shun family wished he could kill himself. Lin Xian looked at the patriarch of the Shun family with a mocking expression. He stared coldly at the patriarch of the Shun family and said, "Why? Do you still want to fight now?" The other side dared to compete with him in terms of the number of kings. They were courting death. Chapter 1458. Below, the 9th elder and the others were stunned. They did not expect that their young master had 2 other kings by his side. As for Morong Qingqing, she sighed. Sure enough, what she did not want to see had happened. But fortunately, from the looks of it, there shouldn't be a fight. Sure enough, Ancestor Morong and the Happy King quickly shook their heads. Young friend Lin, you misunderstood. We have no intention of fighting. Since this is a matter between you and the Duan family, we will not interfere. After saying that, the two of them turned into rainbows and flew toward the ground. You two old men, damn you! Seeing that Ancestor Morong and the happy king had retreated, the Shun family's ancestor stomped his feet in anger. His expression was ugly. He was alone now. Even with the Duan family's ancestor on the ground, they were not a match for the other party. In the end, he could only grit his teeth and say, "Young man, you win. I admit defeat this time." The Shun family's ancestor could only swallow his anger and leave with his tail between his legs. Humph! Lin Xian snorted. To be honest, when he knew that the other party was targeting him, he really wanted to attack the Shun family's ancestor. However, he also knew that this was something that was not very likely. After all, the Shun family's ancestor was different from the Duan family's ancestor. He had been a king for hundreds of years, and he had the House of Kings behind him. In addition to the situation in the Tianwu continent, if he attacked the Shun family's ancestor, Ancestor Morong, and the Happy King would definitely come to help. At that time, there would be a great battle between kings, and the Tianwu continent would be plunged into misery and suffering. This was not the result he wanted. However, the current situation was just right. He had displayed his powerful strength and intimidated the Shun family's ancestor and the others. They would definitely not dare to attack him again. After doing all this, Lin Xian turned his gaze and looked down again. He stared at the Duan family's ancestor. The change in the sky was beyond everyone's expectations. No one had expected Lin Xian to summon 2 king tiers in an instant, which gave him an absolute advantage. Even the 3 kings of the Shun family had no choice but to retreat. This was simply too shocking. It should be known that the patriarch of the Shun family, Patriarch Morong, and the Happy King were all kings who had been famous for a long time. Their strength far surpassed the patriarch of the Duan family. Even so, they still retreated in front of Lin Xian. It could be said that in an instant, Lin Xian's prestige had reached its peak. When the Duan clan's patriarch was enveloped by Lin Xian's gaze, his body suddenly trembled as a hint of despair appeared in his eyes. He knew that it was hopeless. Even the 3 patriarchs of the Shen family had retreated. No one would stand up for him. Furthermore, what made him feel even more despair was that Lin Xian had 3 kings by his side. No one in the Martial Heaven continent could resist such a powerful force. The Duan family was probably finished. When he thought of this, a trace of viciousness appeared in the eyes of the Duan clan's patriarch. Since he was going to die anyway, he might as well drag the enemy down with him. In the next moment, the Duan clan's patriarch raised his head to the sky and laughed. His voice was abnormally sinister. "Brat, I didn't expect you to have such strength. However, it's impossible for me to surrender just like that. If I can't have it, you can forget about it." Soon, the golden domain around the Duan clan's patriarch started burning again. The originally dim golden mist instantly exploded with a resplendent radiance. Not only that, but the Duan clan's patriarch's body was also burning with golden flames. His entire body was emitting an extremely terrifying aura. Not good. He's going to self-destruct. Seeing this scene, Dean Xian's expression changed drastically. What? Self-destruct? Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists' eyes were filled with despair. The self-destruction of a king was definitely enough to destroy the entire palace of gods of war, and they would not be able to escape at all. Damn it. How could this be? Lunatic. The Duan clan's patriarch is a lunatic. No, patriarch, don't self-destruct. At this moment, everyone was shouting crazily. If the Duan clan's patriarch self-destructed, they would not be able to escape at all. They would only be buried with him. As for the Shen family's patriarch, Patriarch Morong, and the happy monarch, their faces darkened. They did not expect the Duan clan's patriarch to really go crazy and want to self-destruct. If the Duan clan's patriarch self-destructed, even if they were afraid, they would only be able to protect a small portion of their people. Damn that lunatic Duan. This time, even the Shun family's patriarch gritted his teeth. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and a powerful aura exploded from his body. He let out a long roar and instantly raised his combat strength to the maximum. The great dragon sword soul instantly appeared in his hand. Not only that, but a ball of blue aura appeared on the dragon-shaped sword shadow. This was the power of the divine sea weapon. In the next moment, Lin Xian waved his arm and slashed forward. Suddenly, a shocking dragon-shaped sword chi flew out. This dragon-shaped sword chi was extremely terrifying. It was hundreds of feet long, and there were blue patterns on its surface. It emitted an extremely terrifying icy aura. Everywhere it passed, the entire sky was frozen. What kind of icy aura is this? It's so terrifying. At this moment, even Patriarch Morong, the happy monarch, and Dean Xian were shocked, because this cold chi was really too terrifying. Even they felt a sense of trepidation. Not only that, but the sharp sword light also made their eyelids twitch. This was because they realized that Lin Xian's current strength was even more terrifying than before. D***, how powerful is this kid's combat strength? Why does it feel like there's no upper limit? The kings gasped in shock. The Duan clan's patriarch's heart also skipped a beat. In the next moment, he gritted his teeth, and his body suddenly expanded like a rubber ball. In an instant, he became the size of a house. That terrifying power spread out, causing terrifying cracks to appear in the void around him. Ha, die. The Duan clan's patriarch went crazy and was about to self-destruct. However, in the next moment, a sword light instantly slashed across his body. What? This is impossible. This was the last thought in the Duan clan's patriarch's mind. Then his body froze in the air. A line of blood appeared on his body. Then the golden domain, including the Duan clan's patriarch's body, was split in half from the middle. Otherwise, the dancing golden flames on the golden domain would have frozen in an instant. The entire golden domain, including the Duan clan's patriarch's body, was completely covered in blue ice, turning into an ice sculpture. Everyone was stunned. After a long time, they finally let out a cry of surprise. This sword was too terrifying. It directly killed the Duan clan's patriarch. Not only that, but it also split the golden domain and completely froze the burning golden flames. It successfully stopped the Duan clan's patriarch from exploding. Patriarch Morong and the others were also shocked. This was because they might not have been able to control the Duan clan's patriarch so quickly. However, what they could not do was easily done by a young man in his 20s. This made their scalps tingle. Chapter 1459. Even Ancestor Morong and the rest were shocked, because even if they took action, they might not be able to control the Duan family's ancestor so quickly. However, what they could not do was easily done by a young man in his 20s. This made their scalps tingle. Following the formation of the blue ice sculpture, it also indicated that the Duan family's ancestor was completely dead. Everyone was stunned and could not believe it. This was the first king they knew had fallen in battle. Indeed, other than the ancient times, there had not been a king who had fallen in battle in the past few thousand years. And this Duan family's ancestor was the first. Dead. The ancestor is dead. How is this possible? The Duan family's warriors were in despair as they all knelt on the ground. They could not believe that their ancestor would die. He was a king. He was the pillar of their family. But now he had been killed. The others also had complicated expressions. A few months ago, the Duan family had risen like a shooting star and became the new House of Kings. It could be said that a storm had been stirred up in the Tianmu continent. At that time, countless factions, families, and sects had all submitted to the Duan family. But who would have thought that in less than half a year, the Duan family's ancestor would be killed? And the Duan family's experts had suffered countless casualties. Now, it could be said that they had fallen. I'm not dreaming, am I? A king died in front of my eyes? Heavens! This Duan family had just become the House of Kings not long ago, right? And they were beaten down. I'm afraid they won't be able to recover in this lifetime. This Lin Xian is too powerful. Everyone was shocked, and Lin Xian stood in the air, his voice cold. The Duan family killed my Palace of War's warriors and seized the Palace of War's residents. Unforgivable. I really can't think of any reason to spare you. At the end, his voice gradually became sharp. With a wave of his hand, countless black flames surged out and covered the sky and earth. Immediately, the Duan family's warriors were all burned to ashes. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked again and sucked in a breath of cold air. It's over. It's really over. This time, the Duan family's experts were all killed. Everyone looked at the young figure in the sky, and their bodies trembled. There was no other way. This method was too fierce. At this moment, everyone swore in their hearts that from now on, even if they were beaten to death, they would not provoke Lin Xian. Below, Elder Jiu and the rest of the Palace of War cheered. Excited. They were too excited. During this period of time, they had been suppressed by the Duan family. Many of their friends and fellow disciples had even been killed by the Duan family. It could be said that they fell into despair, and now they had finally turned the tables. The Duan clan's patriarch had been killed, and the Duan clan had become history. It was impossible for them to contend against them, and the one who had created this miracle was their young master, Lin Xian. Lin Xian had destroyed the Duan family's patriarch and the entire Duan family in an extremely valiant manner. This seen Duan families of Morong. For a moment, the entire valley was silent. No one dared to speak. Even the kings were silent. Tu's to the families. Tu's kings, its Linus Lin Xian, also descended from the sky and landed on the ground. The crimson dragon's body swayed and shrunk again. On the other side, Nine-Tailed also turned into her cute form and jumped back into Morong Qingqing's arms. Although the Crimson Dragon and Nine-Tailed shrunk again, no one dared to underestimate them this time. These were two kings. They were the strongest overlords of the continent. Including Lin Xian, there were 3 kings. The Palace of War was going to defy the heavens. However, the Morong family was also overjoyed. This nine-tailed fox seemed to be Morong Qingqing's. In other words, it was equivalent to the Morong clan gaining another ruler. Thinking of this, the Morong family's warriors were excited. Even Ancestor Morong was astonished. After Lin Xian landed, he scanned the surroundings. Soon, he stared at the Divine Bird Palace's people. Immediately, the Divine Bird Palace's warriors trembled, especially the palace master of the Divine Bird Palace. His face became ugly. This was the god of death. Even the Duan family's ancestor was killed, let alone their Divine Bird Palace. I remember that it was your Divine Bird Palace and the Duan family who joined forces to suppress me? Right. How do you plan to settle this account? Lin Xian asked coldly. Hearing this, the elders of the Divine Bird Palace were so scared that they peed their pants. The palace master of the Divine Bird Palace was also worried and was about to cry. He was very annoyed. He kicked those elders to death. Why did he have to show off? Now, he provoked this god of death. The palace master of the Divine Bird Palace was a decisive person. He knew that the whole Divine Bird Palace together could not defeat Lin Xian. Therefore, he decisively threw out the few elders who had provoked him earlier. Young Master Lin, the previous matter was just these guys who acted on their own. Our divine bird palace has nothing to do with the Duan family. The palace master of the divine bird palace quickly explained, afraid that Lin Xian would be angry. Nothing to do with them? Hearing this, the corners of everyone's mouth twitched. Everyone knew the relationship between the divine bird palace and the Duan family, but the divine bird palace still dared to say so. Lin Xian also sneered, but his main enemy was the Duan family. The other forces were mainly deterred. Therefore, Lin Xian did not do anything to the divine bird palace. However, the few elders who had spoken out to provoke him were all slapped into a bloody mist by him. Bang, 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 bang. 5 or 6 elders instantly split open and turned into clouds of bloody mist. Seeing the scene, everyone was stunned again. The elders of the Shun family trembled all over and almost knelt on the ground. One must know that they were also involved in suppressing Lin Xian earlier. However, they still resisted the urge to make a sound, because they still had hope in their hearts. In their view, they were different from the divine bird palace. They were the elders of the Shun family and had a king behind them. Moreover, the ancestor of the Shun family was here. No matter how strong the other party was, he would not dare to touch them in front of landlord Shinjia. However, in the next moment, Lin Xian turned his head and looked at the warriors of the Shin family. You guys, get over here and die. What? The elders of the Shun family were stunned. How dare the other party attack them? How dare he? Was he not afraid of angering the ancestor of the Shin family? Sure enough, in the next moment, the ancestor of the Shin family looked gloomy. Boy, don't go too far. Too far? You don't see it. Lin Xian sneered. If someone scolded you in public, would you be indifferent? I didn't chase after your entire Shin family. I only targeted those who spoke arrogantly. That's already giving you face. If you stop me, don't blame me for starting a war with the entire Shin family. Lin Xian snorted. You. Hearing this, the ancestor of the Shun family trembled with anger. His face was terrifyingly dark. This was too hateful. A little brat actually dared to contradict him in public? How reckless! Chapter 1460. The patriarch of the Shin family trembled in anger. His face was terrifyingly dark. This was too hateful. A little brat actually dared to contradict him in public? He was courting death. If it were any other time, he would have slapped him to death. But now he didn't dare to do anything, because there were 3 challenger-level cultivators on the other side. Dean Xian was not included. He gritted his teeth so hard that they almost broke. However, he couldn't agree to let Su Ke kill the patriarch of the Shun family in public. Therefore, the patriarch of the Shin family took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "You guys go out and apologize to him." Hearing this, everyone was extremely shocked. It seemed that the patriarch of the Shun family had given in. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that even the patriarch of the Shun family didn't dare to go against him. One was a challenger who had been famous for a long time, and the other was a prodigy of the younger generation. This was a clash between the new generation and the old generation. It was very intense. The patriarch of the Shun family's words made the patriarch of the Shun family bitter. However, they quickly walked out and prepared to apologize to Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian sneered. Apologize? Do you think it's that simple? The prestige of a challenger-level cultivator is inviolable. Today, they will die without a doubt. After saying that, Lin Xian punched out. The terrifying fist instantly enveloped the Shun family patriarchs. What? He attacked. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. They couldn't believe it. The patriarch of the Shun family patriarchs had already made a big concession by apologizing. It could be said that Lin Xian had earned a lot of reputation today. However, they didn't expect that Su Ke would still attack. He didn't take the Shen family seriously at all. No, the patriarchs of the Shen family patriarchs were terrified. They didn't expect that Su Ke would dare to attack them. Patriarch, save me. Suddenly, these people trembled and screamed in fear. Brat, you're courting death. The patriarch of the Shen family was furious. He had already made a concession, something that had never happened in hundreds of years. However, the other party was actually unwilling to let him off, and even dared to attack the elders in front of him. This made him furious. If he were to lose to the other party today, then he would lose all his face. Therefore, in the next moment, the patriarch of the Shen family did not hesitate and also quickly attacked. A gigantic palm blotted out the sky and covered the earth as it grabbed at the few elders, wanting to protect them. The terrifying palm emitted a dazzling light that was as vast as the Milky Way. It quickly enveloped the few elders of the Shen family. However, Lin Xian's fist was incomparably terrifying. It contained a powerful force, and it was as if an angry dragon had come out, bringing with it an incomparably terrifying aura. Boom! In the next moment, he slammed into the giant palm, and a terrifying energy fluctuation erupted, causing the entire world to shake violently. All kinds of light shot into the sky, flickering with an incomparable aura. However, the patriarch of the Shen family was definitely a king tier, who had been famous for a long time. His strength was incomparably powerful, far surpassing that of the patriarch of the Duan family. Therefore, Lin Xian's punch did not manage to blow away the giant hand. He blocked it. Seeing this scene, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the patriarch of the Shen family was incomparably powerful. Although Lin Xian was powerful, he was not at the level of defying the natural order of things. However, in the next moment, everyone's expression changed, because in the giant palm, several screams could be heard one after another. In fact, everyone could even smell the pungent smell of blood that quickly spread out from the giant palm. What? How is this possible? What happened? Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. The patriarch of the Shen family's expression also changed. When he saw that the other party did not blow away his palm, he had a smug look on his face, because he realized that the other party was not that powerful. At most, the other party could kill the patriarch of the Duan family. However, compared to him, the other party was far from enough. However, he did not expect that there would be an unexpected change. The few elders of the Shen family that he was protecting actually screamed in pain. This was something that he did not expect. Did something happen? The patriarch of the Shen family was surprised and bewildered. In the next moment, he released his palm. The elders that he was protecting had been pierced by the sword Qi. There was a bloody hole between their eyebrows, and scarlet blood was trickling out. What? They were all killed. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. The patriarch of the Shen family's expression also became extremely cold. He was furious. He was too furious. He did not expect that the other party would have such means to kill people even under his protection. This was a slap in the face in front of everyone, and it was a successful slap in the face. The patriarch of the Shen family was trembling with anger. His cold eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, did not care at all. A king has the dignity of a king. He is not someone that anyone can offend. You know that better than I do. Since the few of them have done something wrong, they will naturally be punished accordingly. I did nothing wrong. If you are unhappy or dissatisfied, you can come and find me. I don't mind going to war with you. Of course, I hope you can think about the consequences. Lin Xian's voice was cold, and there was a strong threat in his words. Hearing that, the patriarch of the Shen family frowned. Indeed, it seemed that the other party's strength was not as good as his. However, the other party had many kings. If they really fought, he would not have the upper hand. Therefore, the patriarch of the Shen family stood there with a gloomy look in his eyes. Finally, he laughed coldly. Good, very good. I've finally witnessed what you're capable of. However, don't be too arrogant. One day, you will fall into my hands. The patriarch of the Shen family snorted coldly, then turned around and left with his people. Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. Then Patriarch Morong and the happy king also left with their people. The other sects and forces also said their goodbyes. They did not dare to stay any longer. They had no choice. The scene was too scary, especially for those forces that had publicly supported the Duan family. When they left, their legs were trembling. They were afraid that Lin Xian would be angry and kill them all. Fortunately, Lin Xian did not attack again. In the end, almost everyone left. Only the martial artists of Senma College, the ninth elder, Morong Qingcheng, and the others remained. Young master, is this true? Have you really become a king? The ninth elder, the 10th elder, and the other martial artists in the divine palace were very excited. They could not help but be excited. The scene was too shocking. First, he had used extremely powerful means to kill the patriarch of the Duan family. Then, he had destroyed the Duan family. Finally, he had slapped the face of the patriarch of the Shun family in front of everyone. The other kings did not dare to resist at all. Such means could be said to be extraordinary. Perhaps no one would have thought that the banquet held by the patriarch of the Duan family would end up like this. Din Xian was also curious. He quickly asked, Lin Xian, what is going on? How did you enter the king realm so quickly? They naturally did not know what had happened in the Tianan region, so they were very confused. Chapter 1461. Din Xian was also curious. He quickly asked, Lin Xian, what's going on? How did you enter the king realm so quickly? They naturally didn't know what had happened in the Tianan region, so they were very confused. Lin Xian only gave a simple explanation. As for the subdivine crystals, he wouldn't tell anyone. Next, he asked the ninth elder and the others to return to Senma College and bring back the remaining martial artists and elders of the Palace of Gods of War. Because from now on, the Palace of Gods of War was still theirs. Moreover, no one dared to have any ideas about the Palace of Gods of War. Din Xian and the others also left. Lin Xian turned around and said to Morong Qingcheng, You've been away from home for a few years. Go back and take a look. All right. Morong Qingcheng nodded. I'll come and find you when I miss you. Morong Qingcheng carried Nine-Tailed Beast and left as well. Luo Bingshan didn't leave and stayed. Lin Xian asked her and a few other Palace of Gods of War elders to clean up the battlefield and the Palace of Gods of War in preparation for the return of the other martial artists. The next few days were very peaceful. The Palace of Gods of War was restored to its original state, and Lin Xian began to recuperate and continue cultivating. Now that the Duan clan had been eliminated by him, he began to prepare to leave the Tianmu continent and head to the real quintessential world. Of course, the most important thing was to find enough energy to operate the Black Earth. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't be able to leave. He planned to wait for the martial artists of the Palace of Gods of War to return and get them to search for it. After all, it definitely wasn't something that could be found in a day or two. Therefore, he had to borrow the power of the Palace of Gods of War. However, during this period, Lin Xian didn't stay idle. Besides cultivating, he also headed to the depths of the Palace of Gods of War. To be precise, he went to the place where Lin Zhan was in seclusion. He wanted to see if his father had come out of seclusion. The 10,000 Spirits Valley was still as beautiful and quiet as before. A figure quickly landed outside the 1,000 Spirit Valley like a sword. This figure was naturally Lin Xian. This was already his third time here, but he didn't see his father. This made him a little disappointed. However, he still came every few days and cultivated in the periphery of the Myriad Spirits Valley. Originally, he thought that it would be the same as before, and that nothing would happen, but this time it was beyond his expectations. Not long after he arrived, a voice suddenly came from the Myriad Spirit Valley. "Little Xian, you've come." This voice was unusually calm. "Father!" Lin Xian was still sitting cross-legged, but when he heard this voice, he immediately stood up and shouted excitedly, "You've come out of seclusion?" "Not yet. It will take some time. However, I just woke up from my cultivation and found you here," Lin Zhan said in a low voice. After that, the father and son had a long talk. Lin Xian told Lin Zhan everything that had happened in detail. After Lin Zhan heard this, he was also shocked. "I've also explored the Devil Abyss. I didn't expect it to be the burial ground of the 4th-generation successor of the Dragon Sword. It is indeed rare for you to have such an opportunity. Father, I still have some substandard divinity crystals. How can I give them to you?" "Substandard divinity crystals? How about this? Let's enter the world in your body. Then you can pass them to me through that world." After saying that, the voice was filled with boundless profoundness. Then Lin Xian felt his mind tremble, and the scene around him changed once again. When he recovered, he realized that he had come to the mysterious world in his body again. The purple thunder divine bamboo grew beside him, and there were spiritual herbs all over the ground. There were also 10,000 beasting beside him. In front of him was a withered tree of God. On the other side of the tree of God was Lin Zhan. Lin Zhan waved his arm, and a golden vortex appeared in front of him. "Little Xian, put the substandard divinity crystals into this vortex, and you can pass them to me. I don't need too many. Just give me 10. "Oh," Lin Xian nodded. He had 30 pieces in his hand. He wanted to give them all to his father, but Lin Zhan only wanted 10 pieces. He had no choice. Soon, he put the 10 pieces of substandard divinity crystals into the golden vortex. Then the golden vortex spun and enveloped the 10 pieces of substandard divinity crystals. Then they gradually disappeared. "That's enough." Lin Zhan nodded. "I still have some time before I can come out of seclusion. You don't have to be disappointed. We will reunite one day." Then he looked at Lin Xian again and said slowly, "You can condense the king domain so early. It is indeed beyond my expectations. Since you have met the 4th-generation successor of the Dragon Sword, you should have a cultivation technique for cultivating the king domain, right?" "Yes, I do have a cultivation technique." Lin Xian nodded. Although the 4th-generation successor of the Dragon Sword was no longer around, He too was still around. He had many cultivation techniques in his hands, and they were all used by the 4th-generation successor. Therefore, Lin Xian didn't lack cultivation techniques for cultivating the king domain. That's good. Just cultivate the 4th-generation successor's cultivation technique. However, there is one thing. You must continue cultivating the art of longevity. You must not stop. This cultivation technique is more magical than you think. It can support you through the king realm. Also, when your physical body enters the king realm, you can try to enter the world in your body. Here, you'll get unexpected gains. Hearing this, Lin Xian was even more confused. It seemed like his father knew about the art of longevity and the mysterious small sword. "Father, what is the grade of the art of longevity? Also, what is the mysterious small sword? And the world in my body?" "You won't understand, even if I tell you now. You will know one day." Lin Zhan shook his head slightly. "However, I can tell you about the difference of 10 years. Hearing this, Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. This question had troubled him for a long time because his father had only left home for 5 years. However, it seemed like 15 years had passed in the Tianwu continent. Lin Xian didn't know that there was a difference of 10 years. Now that he heard that his father was going to solve the mystery, he was naturally excited. It is actually very simple. I have only left for 5 years. In other words, I left the Sword Pool Mansion with you. Lin Zhan said in a deep voice, "What? You left with me? Then what about the 15 years here?" Lin Xian was confused. There is no difference in time between the two continents. I have only been in the Tianwu continent for 5 years. However, if we include now, it should be 8 years. The extra 10 years are actually an illusion. Illusion? What do you mean? Lin Xian was even more confused as he listened. To be exact, the people in the Tianwu continent were affected by the illusion. They thought that 15 years had passed, but in fact it was only 5 years. What? They were affected by the illusion. Lin Xian was shocked. You are saying that everyone was affected by the illusion? How is that possible? He was too shocked. How many people are there in the Tianwu continent? Billions. So many people, but they were all affected by the illusion? Why did it sound like a myth? Chapter 1462. It should be known that the casting of illusions normally required soul power. What level of soul power did one need to cast the same illusions on billions of people? Furthermore, they still believed in it. Father, how did you do it? Why did you add another 10 years? Lin Zhan sighed. This world is far more magical than you can imagine. I think you should know the general situation of this world. I know about the true spirit world. Lin Xian nodded. Since you know about the true spirit world, then you should also know that the Sky Martial Continent is actually an island. In the real big world, it's actually nothing. And that vast true spirit world is extremely magical. It's far beyond your imagination. Therefore, it's not difficult to cast an illusion on everyone on the island. Of course, you still can't understand that method. Lin Zhan said, I'm not as magical as you think. I can create such a huge illusion, mainly because of an eye. I once obtained an eye. It's the eye of a certain race on the true spirit continent. This eye has been cultivated to an extremely high level. I don't even need to use any power. I only need to activate it, and I can create an extremely terrifying illusion. I use this illusion to make everyone on the Sky Martial Continent think that I've arrived here long ago. As for the reason, it's naturally to integrate with them. Because I need the dragon fountain in the Thousand Spirit Valley, Lin Zhan said slowly. And I could cast an illusion on billions of people. After Lin Xian heard this, his mouth opened wide in disbelief. What kind of eye could be so terrifying? According to what his father said, it was a certain race on the true spirit world. Could the real big world be so terrifying? Lin Xian was extremely shocked. He now knew how the extra 10 years came about. He also knew why Lin Zhuan wanted to extend it by 10 years. However, he had even more doubts. For example, what exactly was that eye? What kind of race was that? Also, why was Lin Zhan in such a hurry to occupy the dragon fountain? Could there be some other secrets? However, Lin Zhan didn't tell him these things. What do you plan to do next? Just as Lin Xian was deep in thought, Lin Zhan asked again, I want to go to the real great world and see how magical it is. Upon hearing Lin Xian's words, Lin Zhan nodded. Indeed, this place is too small. You should go to the real big world to take a look. However, that place is far more dangerous than this place. Although there is almost no danger here, once you reach the real great world, you will likely encounter countless dangers. You have to be mentally prepared for this. I know. Lin Xian nodded. He too had told him about this before. As the successor of the dragon sword, he would definitely receive countless challenges and threats. There were even people who wanted to plot against his great dragon sword soul. These were all within his expectations, but no matter what danger there was, he would still try it. However, Lin Zhan shook his head slightly. Do you still remember why you were chased out of Swordpool Mansion back then? Do you remember why you can't cultivate? Lin Xian's question was like a clap of thunder. It made Lin Xian extremely shocked. Of course, he wouldn't forget this. Previously, he couldn't cultivate at all. This didn't mean that he was trash. On the contrary, his talent was extremely high. He was definitely a top genius. In the beginning, he was unable to cultivate because he had been sealed. Back then, the spirit meridians in his body were sealed by a black lotus. He couldn't cultivate at all. If it wasn't for that mysterious small sword, he wouldn't even be able to cultivate. However, what did Lin Zhan mean by saying this now? Could it be that the black lotus in his body didn't exist for no reason? Was it specifically targeting him? Thinking about the true spirit continent that he was about to go to, Lin Xian's expression was uncertain. He asked in a deep voice, "Father, could it be that the person who sealed me back then is now in the true spirit continent?" "That's right. He is in that world." Lin Zhan nodded. Hearing this, Lin Xian's expression darkened. "Father, who exactly is he? Why did he seal me? He is a very terrifying enemy. You are no match for him now. Even I am no match for him." Lin Zhan said in a deep voice, "If I tell you now, it will only add to your troubles. It might even be dangerous. However, I have to remind you that when you enter the real big world, you must be careful of people with the black lotus mark. In front of these people, you must not reveal that you have the great dragon sword soul. Otherwise, you will be hunted down endlessly. Try your best to hide your identity. If you are really discovered, you must be killed immediately. You must not let these people spread the news back." Lin Zhan's expression was extremely serious. Obviously, this matter was very troublesome. Lin Xian's expression was also very serious. Although Lin Zhan didn't say much, he could feel the seriousness of this matter and how terrifying that black lotus was. Thinking about it, this black lotus was also an extremely terrifying existence in the real big world. "Don't worry, Father. I will be careful." Lin Xian took a deep breath and nodded seriously. "I believe in you, with your talent and the great dragon sword soul. As long as you continue to grow, your future will be limitless." Lin Zhan finally revealed a trace of a smile. However, the path of martial arts is very dangerous. It is extremely difficult. There will definitely be countless difficulties and obstacles on this path. I hope that you will have a firm martial heart and never give up. This is because willpower and confidence are sometimes more important than talent. The father and son talked for a long time. In the end, Lin Zhan's figure disappeared again. Lin Xian also left the mysterious space and returned to the periphery of the myriad spirit valley. Since he knew about his father's situation, there was no need for him to guard here all day. His figure flashed, and he left the myriad spirit valley. In the following days, Lin Xian desperately raised his cultivation level and continuously comprehended the dragon sword territory. On the other side, the ninth elder and the rest led the remaining warriors and elders of the Palace of Gods of War back to the Palace of Gods of War. When they found out about what happened that day, they were all stunned. None of them dared to believe it. However, when they returned to the Palace of Gods of War and saw the scene here, they finally relaxed. Then they looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. Excited, too excited. Originally, they thought that they would leave the Palace of Gods of War forever and never return. However, they didn't expect that not long after they would return again. Of course, all of this was thanks to Lin Xian. Not only them, but the outside world was also in an uproar. The news of the Duan clan's patriarch being killed swept across the entire Tianmu continent like a gust of wind. Chapter 1463. It couldn't be helped. This matter was too shocking. One had to know that the Duan family's ancestor was a king. Such a person was in existence at the peak. How could he be killed? However, it really happened. Not only was he killed, but he was also killed by a youth in his 20s. When everyone found out about this, their minds were blown. In an instant, Lin Xian's name once again swept across the entire continent. Not only that, the Duan family's destruction, Lin Xian's confrontation with the three kings, as well as slapping the Shun family's ancestor's face in front of everyone, quickly spread. The entire Tianmu continent was in an uproar. This was because every matter was too shocking. It had never happened in hundreds or thousands of years. One had to know that those were all kings. Every one of them was an indomitable expert. However, all of them had suffered at the hands of Lin Xian. This was too inconceivable, especially when they heard that Lin Xian had instantly summoned two mysterious kings to confront the Shun family's ancestor, Murong family's ancestor, and the Happy Monarch. Everyone's jaws almost dropped. Excluding Dean Xian and Senma College's king, Lin Xian actually had two kings by his side. This was too shocking. Perhaps no faction in the Tianmu continent could contend with him. In an instant, the entire continent was talking about this matter. As for Lin Xian, he began to cultivate crazily. Ever since the Palace of Gods of War's martial artists returned, Lin Xian had sent them out to search for energy. As for the energy requirements, he had asked He Tu before. There was no specific requirement. There was only one, and that was a huge amount of energy. Therefore, Lin Xian mobilized the entire Palace of Gods of War and all its subordinate forces to quickly search the entire Tianmu continent. This was because only by finding enough energy could he leave this place and head to the true spirit world. As for Lin Xian, he went into seclusion to cultivate, putting all his effort into increasing his cultivation. He had already cultivated the Furious Dragon Art to the 4th level. Now, his blood chi was vigorous, surpassing that of a half-step king. His sky spill visualization diagram had also reached the 6th level. His soul power had been greatly enhanced. It could be said that if he didn't use the Dragon Sword domain, no one below the King Realm was his match. And once he used the Dragon Sword domain, even a 1-star king would not be a match for him. Just like that, Lin Xian went into seclusion and cultivated rapidly. At the same time, in a certain primordial forest of the Tianmu continent, there was a huge canyon. This canyon was tens of thousands of feet deep. There was no one at all, not even demonic beasts. However, at the bottom of this ravine, there was a black silhouette. Like a small mountain, it was burning fiercely and emitted blazing heat. The surroundings were charred black, and not a single blade of grass grew. This strange figure was naturally the heavenly Netherbird. At this moment, there was only one astral chain left on his body. The other 3 had lost their luster and were scattered on the ground. However, the heavenly Netherbird didn't refine the last one. Instead, it suddenly opened its eyes. His pitch-black eyes flickered with scorching flames as they pierced through the void before him. Damned astral chains. How could they be so powerful? Even if I tried my best, I could only refine 3 of them. However, this last one won't be able to stop me. Wait for me to absorb some more energy. Then I'll break this last chain. At that time, the entire Tianmu continent will be under my feet. In the next moment, the heavenly Netherbird stood up. The flames on its body flickered as it opened its bloody mouth and sucked. Immediately, the surrounding spiritual chi started to surge and fly towards it. This scene was too terrifying. The heavenly Netherbird was like a peerless demon, as it crazily devoured the surrounding spiritual chi. The spiritual chi quickly gathered and formed rivers of spiritual chi that spun towards the heavenly netherbird. However, the heavenly netherbird was like a bottomless pit as it crazily devoured the spiritual chi. Not long after, the plants in the canyon lost their luster, turned yellow, and finally died. The entire canyon became a wasteland, and the situation was still spreading rapidly. In a primordial forest not far from the canyon, there were two demonic beasts fighting. One of them was a golden ape, and the other was a pitch-black black bear. Both of them had powerful auras, and both had the strength of a 9-star demonic beast general. As they fought, the entire void trembled and parts of the forest collapsed. It was unknown why these two demonic beasts were fighting, but the battle was extremely intense. However, not long after, the two of them stopped and looked into the distance in bewilderment. Then, they revealed a look of horror. This was because the forest in the distance was withering at a speed visible to the naked eye. The trees directly withered and lost their vitality. A ray of gray light, like the scythe of the Grim Reaper, fell everything in its path. As for the gray light, it was rapidly flying toward them. Even though the two demonic beasts had reached the level of a 9-star demonic beast general and were even more terrifying than a 9th heaven supremacy, they were still trembling. However, at this moment, they began to tremble violently. Deep fear appeared in their eyes. Whoosh! The two demonic beasts no longer cared about fighting. They turned and fled, turning into two shocking rays of light. However, that gray light was even faster. The moment they rose into the air, they were hit by the attack. The two demonic beasts stopped in midair, and then their huge bodies quickly shrank. The golden ape's golden light dimmed rapidly, and its flesh quickly withered. As for the black bear's spirit, it was extremely frightened. Its huge body instantly turned into a bag of bones. In the next moment, the two demonic beasts turned into a pile of white bones and fell to the ground. The gray light was still spreading rapidly into the distance. In another part of the forest, a group of martial artists was moving quickly. At the forefront was a young man in a blue shirt. He held a hidden sword in his hand, and he exuded a powerful aura. Beside him was a girl in a pink shirt who was anxiously looking into the distance. "Sister Fu, don't worry. I'll catch Silver Fox for you. Senior brother, be careful. Silver Fox has reached the level of an 8-star demonic beast general. It's very terrifying." The girl in pink looked concerned. "Don't worry, junior sister. I just made a breakthrough a few days ago and reached the 8th level honorable realm. It's easy to deal with Silver Fox." The man in blue was very confident, and he couldn't help but increase his speed. Silver Fox, who was in front of him, was like a ray of silver light that streaked across the void. However, in the next moment, it stopped in midair. It lifted its furry head and looked into the distance, its expression filled with fear. "Evil beast, where are you running to?" The man in blue was overjoyed when he saw this scene. He held the long sword in his hand and quickly slashed out several blue sword lights. These sword lights surged in the air, forming a huge sword net that enveloped Silver Fox. In the next moment, the Sword King would be able to catch Silver Fox. However, in the next moment, the man in blue was stunned. Chapter 1464. Not only him, but the girl in pink next to him, as well as the warriors behind her, were also stunned. That was because the Silver Fox in front of them instantly withered and turned into a pile of bones. It was as if his energy had been sucked away by something. It was very strange. In the sky, the huge blue sword net dimmed in an instant, and then disappeared. What? The blue-robed man was shocked. That was his ultimate move, but it was broken in an instant. Then his face became gloomy and he shouted coldly, Who is it? Come out. However, no one answered him. In the next moment, the blue-robed man was also stunned. As if he had encountered something terrible, his body instantly sank in. Not only him, but the girl in pink and the warriors behind her also turned into a pile of bones in an instant. In the void, there was an arc of gray light that quickly spread out. This gray light was naturally released by the heavenly netherbird. At this moment, it was crazily devouring the surrounding spiritual energy. Gradually, with the canyon as the center, everything within 1,000 miles was turned into a wasteland. All the trees, monsters, and humans were sucked dry of their spiritual energy and turned into countless bones. In the depths of the canyon, the heavenly netherbird slowly closed its mouth. Suddenly, the terrifying devouring power also quickly disappeared. If I use the normal method to refine the star chain, I'm afraid it will take about a year. But I can't wait any longer. The heavenly netherbird whispered to itself. Then, a fierce light burst out from its eyes. Forget it. Since there's only one chain left, I'll go out and see if there's any powerful energy to replenish. Obviously, the devouring just now did not allow it to recover its full strength. Moreover, that method of absorption was too slow. The heavenly netherbird could not wait and wanted to go out and take revenge. In the next moment, it flapped its huge wings. Countless flames spread, and its huge body quickly left the ground. In the next moment, the heavenly netherbird turned into a black light and disappeared from the canyon. Northwest of the Tianwu continent, there was an extremely majestic mountain range here. It was the territory of the Divine Bird Palace. Since the last time they left the Palace of Gods of War, the people of the Divine Bird Palace had been very low-key. They did not even go out. There was nothing they could do about it. The shock they had received earlier was simply too great. The scene of Lin Xian killing the Duan family's patriarch was like a nightmare that kept circling in their minds, unable to disperse for a long time. They were even afraid that Lin Xian would attack their Divine Bird Palace, so they all gathered here and did not dare to go out. The palace lord of the Divine Bird Palace was in seclusion, cultivating with all his might to break through and become a king. This was the only way to ensure the safety of the Divine Bird Palace. However, these people did not know that, at this moment, there was a black figure near the mountain range. It was rapidly approaching. This black figure carried with it a blazing flame aura. It was like a flaming divine bird, as it flew rapidly through the sky. This figure was naturally the heavenly netherbird. His dark eyes looked down at the mountains below, and he whispered to himself, "I remember that the Divine Bird Palace seems to be here. I wonder how much of my strength can these 3 vermilion blood birds help me recover?" Thinking of this, he revealed a sinister smile. Then he flapped his black wings and charged downwards like a bolt of black lightning, tearing the sky apart. In the next moment, he arrived at the mountain range. There were countless palaces and pavilions in front of him. At the center of the palace were 3 majestic palaces. One was a purple palace that was bathed in lightning, while the other was a green palace that was surrounded by wind blades. The last one was a flaming palace. It was like the palace of the fire god, blooming with a blazing light. The 3 vermilion bloodbirds were also an ancient species. They had 3 heads and 3 attributes: wind, lightning, and fire. The 3 palaces in front corresponded to the 3 heads. It could be said that the 3 palaces were forbidden areas of the Divine Bird Palace. At this moment, the heavenly netherbird looked at the 3 palaces in front of him and snorted coldly. Then his huge claws grabbed forward. Looking at the 3 palaces in front of him, the heavenly netherbird raised his claws and slowly grabbed forward. The first thing he did was to grab the fiery red palace of flames. The huge claws covered the sky and the earth. They were extremely black with black flames dancing on them. It was like the claws of a demon god. It was extremely terrifying. When the flaming palace was attacked, it immediately emitted a dazzling light. Flames surrounded the palace as if they were going to burn everything. Humph! The heavenly netherbird snorted disdainfully. Using flames in front of him was courting death. Sure enough, in the next moment, countless black flames shone coldly on the huge palm. Black lines appeared on the claws, and a terrifying heat surged forward. Boom, boom, boom. The two flames collided with each other, making a low sound. In the next moment, a hole was torn in the fiery red light screen, and the monstrous red flames became incomparably dim in an instant. In front of the heavenly netherbird, they could not use their strength at all. They were completely suppressed. Seeing this, the heavenly netherbird snorted disdainfully. Then he waved his claws and grabbed the flaming palace. With a pull, the majestic palace was uprooted from the ground and arrived in front of the heavenly netherbird. The heavenly netherbird opened his bloody mouth and sucked hard. Suddenly, a black vortex appeared. The huge palace in front of him was attracted by the black vortex. It quickly shrank and was then sucked into the heavenly netherbird stomach. This change immediately attracted the attention of the martial artists of the divine bird palace. Countless martial artists rushed out from the mountains around Viper. When they saw that one of the three sacred palaces in the center was missing, their faces changed. That was the shrine in their hearts, an incomparably sacred place. Now that one was missing, it made them feel as if the sky was falling. Damn it! Who did this? Get out here! Enemy attack. A powerful person is attacking. Hurry and inform the elders. How dare you come to my divine bird palace? I'll make sure you don't leave. Angry shouts rang out. It was obvious that everyone was furious. However, when they looked up at the sky and saw a huge black figure, they were all stunned. Then, fear appeared in their eyes, and their bodies began to tremble. Tion, heavenly netherbird. Everyone was terrified. They did not expect the heavenly netherbird to attack. This was a king, and an extremely powerful one at that. The divine bird palace could not resist at all. The elders of the divine bird palace who rushed over were so scared that they peed their pants. Originally, when they heard that their three sacred palaces had disappeared, they were so angry that their beards curled up. They decided that no matter who it was, they would kill him. However, when they arrived at the scene and saw the heavenly netherbird, their legs began to tremble. Chapter 1465. This was a king. How could they fight him? Even if all of them went up together, they would not be able to withstand a single slap from him. Damn it! Everyone, pay attention. Activate the Great Protection Array. At the same time, send someone to inform the palace master to come out. Also, send someone to the other house of kings. The great elder of the divine bird palace shouted loudly. His voice spread clearly in all directions. Yes, activate the Great Protection Array. All the warriors were shocked. They went to their respective positions and channeled their spiritual energy. The Great Protection Array was the ultimate array of the divine bird palace. It was used to defend against external enemies. This array had been passed down since ancient times. It was extremely terrifying. No one below the king level could break it. As for the king level, they did not know because no king level had ever attacked the divine bird palace. However, they believed in the power of the Great Protection Array. It could at least resist for a while. During this time, they had already sent someone to inform the palace master. Not only that, they had also sent a distress signal to the Shun family, the Murong family, the Merry Forest, and several other House of Kings. As long as a king-level cultivator dared to come, things would be easy. However, They did not know that the heavenly netherbird had recovered most of its strength. They thought that the heavenly netherbird was still bound by the starry chains like before. The heavenly netherbird had caused a ruckus before and was defeated by a king-level cultivator. Therefore, they thought that it would be the same this time. Soon, a mysterious pattern flashed, and a terrifying Great Protection Array was activated. It covered the entire mountain range. This was a Great Protection Array passed down from ancient times. It had been perfected by generations of Divine Bird Palace experts. It was extremely powerful. After activating the Great Protection Array, all the warriors of the Divine Bird Palace heaved a sigh of relief. The elders also smiled. Okay, we can hold on for a while. As long as the other kings arrive, we will be safe. The heavenly netherbird looked down at the Great Protection Array and smiled disdainfully. Although this Great Protection Array was magical, it was nothing in its eyes. If it was trapped by the 4 starry chains like before, it might have taken some effort to break this Great Protection Array. But now, there was only one astral chain left on his body, and he had recovered more than half of his strength. Compared to before, it was countless times more terrifying. Therefore, he did not take the protective grand formation below seriously at all. In the next moment, his eyes flickered and black flames spread all over his body. They condensed into a pitch-black claw in front of him and slammed downwards. In an instant, lightning and fire intertwined, and wind and thunder roared. This terrifying claw turned into a black afterimage, accompanied by boundless flames around it. It was abnormally terrifying. In the void, ear-piercing whistling sounds could be heard. The lightning was astonishing, and all sorts of terrifying scenes erupted. This black palm ruthlessly slammed into the protective formation below, immediately erupting with an earth-shattering tremor. The entire mountain range shook violently as if there was a huge earthquake. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the warriors of Divine Bird Palace below changed their expressions, and the elders roared madly. Everyone frantically channeled their spiritual energy to stabilize the formation, but soon despair appeared in their eyes. This was because no matter how hard they tried, the tremors around them were getting more and more intense. It was to the extent where the ground beneath their feet began to crack apart, producing terrifying sounds. Mountains collapsed, palaces exploded, and countless people turned into a bloody mist in an instant. What? Impossible! Isn't there a defensive formation? How can the energy still be transmitted? At this moment, the faces of countless warriors of Divine Bird Palace changed greatly. They simply could not understand how such a thing could happen. This kind of terrifying method had long surpassed their understanding. However, in the next moment, their faces turned to horror again. This was because the protective formation above their heads was rapidly dimming. Countless cracks appeared on it, like a spider web, instantly covering the entire sky. Ka, ka, ka. A low sound rang out, and then the entire protective formation shattered like glass. Countless fragments scattered in all directions. Impossible! This is simply impossible! The elders screamed madly. They could not believe that the protective formation had broken. It had shattered in an instant. How could this be? One had to know that this was their protective formation. It had been passed down from ancient times. After being improved by generations of powerhouses, it could be said to be incomparably terrifying. They were even confident that it could withstand the attack of a king. However, now, in the face of the heavenly Netherbird's attack, the protective formation that they were so proud of had shattered. What had shattered was not only the protective formation, but also the hope in their hearts. At this moment, everyone's faces were filled with despair. Many people's faces were ashen. It was over. It was completely over. Without the protective formation, They simply could not withstand the heavenly Netherbird's fury. This entire process did not even take half an hour. Not to mention the other kings, even their palace master had not arrived yet. For a moment, a sense of despair and fear enveloped the warriors of Divine Bird Palace. The heavenly Netherbird looked down at the mountain range below with a ferocious smile. Then it waved its claws. Suddenly, the bodies of countless warriors below exploded, turning into clouds of blood mist. Seeing the scene, everyone was terrified. The elders' faces changed drastically, and they all fled in all directions. In an instant, rays of light of various colors flew up from the mountain range below and fled in all directions. Facing the heavenly Netherbird, they did not have any thoughts of fighting back. They only had one thought, and that was to escape. However, in the next moment, they were all in despair, because it was as if the other party had used magic. Their bodies all stopped in midair. It was as if an invisible hand had grabbed them. As a result, they couldn't shake it at all. No, damn it, I don't believe it. The great elder of Divine Bird Palace roared crazily. His body erupted with unparalleled energy, and he even began to burn his spiritual power and blood. However, it was of no use. In the next moment, the heavenly Netherbird's eyes turned, and the warriors' bodies exploded again, turning into clouds of blood mist. The blood mist did not disperse, but rather it was guided by something and quickly floated in the same direction. That was the heavenly Netherbird. The blood mist condensed in front of the heavenly Netherbird, forming a strange blood rune. This rune was very complicated, and it was formed by countless mysterious lines. At first, it was very dim, but as more and more blood mist was added, the rune gradually lit up with a scarlet light. A mysterious and terrifying power was gradually emitted. Seeing the scene, the heavenly Netherbird smiled. "Stop, hurry up and stop." However, at this moment, an angry voice suddenly came from the mountain range below. This voice was very loud, and it directly penetrated the sky. Then a figure turned into a shocking rainbow and quickly arrived in the sky. Chapter 1466. A figure turned into a long rainbow and arrived in the sky at high speed. It was a middle-aged man with a majestic gait. He had a powerful aura and a pair of purple wings on his back. "Heavenly Netherbird, why did you attack my Divine Bird Palace?" This man was the palace master of the Divine Bird Palace. Seeing his palace destroyed and his disciples killed, he could no longer hold it in and shouted, "Who do you think you are? How dare a lowly ant talk to me like that?" The heavenly Netherbird's eyes were cold. Suddenly, the palace master's body trembled, but he still shouted, "Why can't I? You and I are both flying beasts. Even in ancient times, our two races intersected. Why did you attack us? Even if you want energy, you should attack humans." He was indeed crazy because he could see that the heavenly Netherbird was devouring their energy, but he could not understand why the heavenly Netherbird Palace was targeted when there were so many human forces. "Why?" The heavenly Netherbird snorted in disdain. "You lowly ants want to claim kinship with me? If it was the real three-headed crimson blood bird, I might hesitate. But you lowly ants are not worth mentioning." After the heavenly Netherbird finished speaking, it did not bother with them and flicked its finger. Suddenly, the Divine Bird Palace master's body exploded, turning into a bright red mist of blood. This scene was too shocking. The palace master of the Divine Bird Palace was an existence that surpassed the half-step king level, but in front of the heavenly Netherbird he could not resist at all and was easily killed. This was too unbelievable. Below, the remaining warriors saw this scene, and their scalps went numb. They sat on the ground, paralyzed. It was over. It was really over. Their palace master had been killed in a single move, so they didn't stand a chance at all. Thinking of this, these people shouted crazily, "Why did you attack us?" However, no one answered them. There was only a pair of invisible hands that crushed them one by one. Tens of thousands of divine bird palace martial practitioners exploded, turning into scarlet blood. The blood did not fall. Instead, it condensed in the sky and floated toward the mysterious rune. This scene was very strange. Countless drops of blood flew, but they didn't drip on the ground. In fact, they even disappeared in the end. Only the pungent smell of blood filled the air. In the blink of an eye, all the martial artists in the entire divine bird palace were killed, and no one escaped. In an instant, the originally majestic palace became fragmented, and the entire mountain range was torn apart. All the martial artists of the divine bird palace were killed, but not a single corpse was left. Not even a drop of blood was left. In an instant, the terrifying sixth-grade sect, Divine Bird Palace, was destroyed. Looking at the mysterious rune flashing with scarlet light in the air, the heavenly serene bird revealed a sinister smile. Immediately, a guard quickly left and entered the Shun family to report. The leader of the divine wind team flew all the way at an extremely fast speed. He turned into a gray light and quickly shuttled back and forth in the sky. His speed was so fast that it directly caused the sound of wind and thunder. Even the void trembled violently. Below, countless martial artists of the Shin family looked up at the sky with surprise, because in the family very few people flew like this. Who is it? How dare he be so bold as to cause wind and thunder? Is it an enemy attack? D*M*. What's wrong with the guards below the mountain? Why don't they attack when they see someone coming in? The martial artists of the Shun family were furious. Some of the masters even wanted to attack. However, the figure above quickly said, "I am the leader of the Divine Wind Team. I have an urgent matter to report. I have no choice but to break the family rules." Whoosh, whoosh. A few elders of the Shen family appeared in the sky and blocked that person's path. "Elder Feng, it's really you. What's the matter? Why are you so urgent?" Among them, the third elder of the Shen family asked. Chapter 1467. Swoosh, swoosh. A few elders of the Shen family appeared in the sky and blocked that person's path. "Elder Feng, it's really you. What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry?" asked the third elder of the Shen family. "Something bad has happened. I want to see the patriarch right now." Elder Feng, the leader of the Divine Wind Team, sounded anxious. "What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry?" "The patriarch is in seclusion now." "Yeah, why don't you leave it to us?" Third elder, "I'm afraid you can't make the decision on this matter." Elder Feng shook his head quickly and started to transmit his voice to the other elders. "What's the matter? Why does he need to transmit his voice? Can't he just say it out loud?" The third elder and the others were puzzled. However, in the next moment, they trembled and looked horrified. This was because they had heard a terrifying piece of news. "Is your news true?" The third elder and the others were bewildered, their faces filled with disbelief. "It's true. It's because of this news that I broke the family rules and barged in directly. Now, I have to tell the patriarch what I've done. Come, follow me." This time, the third elder and the other elders didn't stop them. Instead, they led Elder Feng into the Shen family quickly. Only a group of Shen family martial artists were left behind. They looked at each other and didn't know what had happened. Dozens of elders gathered in the Shen family hall. These were the core elders of the Shen family. These people gathered together and discussed with solemn expressions. Not long after, an old voice sounded from the main seat in the hall. "Greetings, patriarch." When they saw the old figure, all the elders bowed respectfully. The patriarch of the Shen family nodded slightly and then looked at the leader of the Divine Wind team, Elder Feng. "What's the matter? Why must I come out of seclusion to know?" After returning from the palace of Ares, the patriarch of the Shen family went into seclusion to break through to a higher level. Before he went into seclusion, he had left a message that unless there was an emergency, no one was to disturb him. However, not long after he went into seclusion, he was called out. This made him very unhappy. However, he also knew that these people must have encountered some unsolvable problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him out. Elder Feng took a deep breath and quickly said, "Old ancestor, the Holy Bird Palace has been destroyed." "What?" The patriarch of the Shun family was stunned. He couldn't believe his ears. "What did you say? The Divine Bird Palace was destroyed?" He was indeed shocked. After all, that was the Divine Bird Palace. It was a sixth-rank sect, and a top one at that. It was second only to the House of Kings. In the Sky Martial Continent, he was also an overlord. With such strength, it was already good enough that they did not bully others. How could they have been destroyed? "Tell me everything you know. Don't leave out a single detail." The patriarch of the Shen family said in a deep voice. "Yes." Elder Feng quickly told him everything he knew. Then the entire hall fell into silence. Strange, it was too strange. According to Elder Feng, this Divine Bird Palace was exterminated, and no one was able to escape alive. Not only that, the protective array and the entire mountain range had been completely destroyed. Even the 3 sacred palaces of the Divine Bird Palace had disappeared. Moreover, what was even stranger was that there were only fragments of palaces at the scene. There wasn't a single corpse, not even a drop of blood was left. However, there was a thick smell of blood in the air. This indicated that there was definitely blood flowing. However, there was nothing left. It had to be said that this was too strange. "Is what you said true?" The patriarch of the Shen family frowned. "Everything is true. I didn't hide anything. Old ancestor, please investigate thoroughly." Elder Feng quickly replied. Regarding this, the patriarch of the Shun family and the other elders did not suspect anything. After all, Elder Feng was the Shun family's information expert. Moreover, as a member of the Shun family, he was very loyal. It was impossible for him to lie to them. Moreover, this kind of thing could not be deceived. With such a big matter, it wouldn't be long before the entire Sky Martial Continent knew about it. Damn it! Who did it? How could they destroy the Divine Bird Palace? How is this possible? This situation is too strange. If the palace master of the Divine Bird Palace was killed, I would believe it. However, the Divine Bird Palace has hundreds of thousands of disciples and countless experts. How could no one escape? This is unbelievable. Yes, not even a corpse can be found. Not only that, there isn't even a drop of blood. What kind of method is this? The group of elders discussed. At this moment, the 3rd elder of the Shin family said in a low voice, "The Divine Bird Palace is already a top 6th rank sect. To be able to destroy it, it must be at least the House of Kings. There are only a few House of Kings in total. I think it must be one of them who did it." "You mean a king did it?" The 1st elder of the Shin family gasped. But even a king would not be able to create such a scene. This scene was too strange. Countless experts, but no one escaped. Moreover, there was not a single corpse or drop of blood at the scene. Just thinking about this scene made one's scalp tingle. It was not that they had never seen a king's method, but such a strange scene could not be easily created by a king. If one king could not do it, what if it was 3 kings? 3 kings. Hearing the words of the patriarch of the Shun family, everyone was stunned. Then their pupils shrank. Patriarch, you are talking about Lin Xian. Indeed, if there was anyone who could gather 3 kings in an instant, it could only be Lin Xian. This was because Lin Xian had summoned 2 king-level demonic beasts in an instant at the palace of Ares. In addition, Lin Xian himself had the combat strength of a king level. In the whole continent, only Lin Xian could summon 3 kings in an instant. Perhaps only he could do it. The relationship between the Divine Bird Palace and the Duan family was not hidden. Now that the Duan family was destroyed, the Divine Bird Palace would not be able to escape. Is it really Lin Xian? Everyone was shocked. If this was true, things would be troublesome. If 3 kings joined forces, they could destroy everything. Even the Shun family could not resist. Unless they joined forces with the other House of Kings, they could not compete with Lin Xian. What is he trying to do? Damn it, this brat is too arrogant. What can we do? 3 kings are too terrifying. Everyone was discussing, but the patriarch of the Shun family's face was gloomy. Damn this brat, he is too arrogant. What is he trying to do? Revenge? Or unify the whole continent? He could not help but be shocked. For hundreds and thousands of years, the Tianwu continent had been peaceful. Although there were constant conflicts between the major forces, they were only small fights. Basically, no 6th-rank sects were destroyed. Not to mention a top 6th-rank sect like the Divine Bird Palace. Therefore, the patriarch of the Shun family was furious. In the next moment, he stood up and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Xian, you are too arrogant. I don't believe that no one in the world can defeat you. Chapter 1468. The Shun family's patriarch's eyes were filled with killing intent. Lin Xian, you are too arrogant. I don't believe that no one in this world can defeat you. During this period of time, let your people stay here. Don't leave. At the same time, strengthen the defense. If anything happens, immediately activate the defense array. I will make a trip to the Palace of Gods of War. I will be back soon. The Shun family's patriarch instructed. Patriarch, you can't. That's right. That kid has 3 kings. Everyone was worried. The Shun family's patriarch was the pillar of the Shun family. He could not fall. Don't worry. That kid is not that arrogant. I believe that the Morong family and Mary Woods have received the news. I think Patriarch Morong and Mary King will definitely head to the Palace of Gods of War to ask about it. So, this time it will be fine. After giving some instructions, the Shun family's patriarch's body shook and immediately disappeared from the main hall. Then, a bright light lit up in the sky. It was like the Milky Way, instantly piercing through the void. The Shun family's patriarch's guess was right. Not long after, the Morong family and Mary Woods received the same news. Patriarch Morong and Mary King's faces instantly changed. This news was indeed shocking. Patriarch Morong and Mary King both thought of Lin Xian. However, the Morong ancestor knew a little bit more because Morong Qingcheng had already returned home during this time. Nine-Tailed had also returned. Patriarch Morong knew that Nine-Tailed had not left during this period. Therefore, he was very suspicious of this matter. However, he did not hesitate and immediately headed to the Palace of Gods of War. On the other side, Mary King gave some instructions and also flew up. In an instant, the 3 kings all flew towards the Palace of Gods of War. However, the Shun family's patriarch was the first to move, and he was the fastest. Palace of Gods of War. Lin Xian was silently cultivating while waiting for the news of the energy stones. Some time had already passed since the energy stones were found. However, there was no result until now. After all, The energy stones that he needed this time were too large and powerful. This kind of thing was definitely a rare treasure. It was impossible to find it in such a short period of time. Lin Xian knew this, so he waited patiently. However, on this day, the ninth elder hurriedly rushed over with a piece of news. "Young master, something big has happened." "What is it?" "Could it be that you've made some progress on the source of the energy?" "No, it's not the energy source." Elder Jiu Zhang shook his head, his face solemn. "Young master, the divine bird palace was destroyed." "What?" "They were destroyed." Hearing this, Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. One had to know that that was a top-rank sixth sect. It was incomparably powerful. Moreover, it was their headquarters that was destroyed. The only ones who could do something like this were probably the king clans. Moreover, it had to be a large-scale invasion. Which House of Kings did it? Why did he attack? Are these things clear? Lin Xian quickly asked. He was too surprised because he couldn't think of anyone who would attack the Divine Bird Palace. Something big had happened recently, but the destruction of the Duan family was expected. This was because the grudge between the Duan family and Lin Xian wasn't just a matter of 1 or 2 years. Therefore, this was a very normal thing. However, the Divine Bird Palace was different. He didn't hear about any grudges with anyone recently. The only one was their alliance with the Duan family. However, if they were to attack, it should be Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't plan to destroy the Divine Bird Palace. He didn't want to cause such a big war. Moreover, that day in the Palace of Ares, he had warned the Divine Bird Palace. He thought that they wouldn't dare to do anything. However, he didn't expect that not long after, the Divine Bird Palace would be destroyed. I wonder who did it. However, the situation at the Divine Bird Palace is very strange. Tens of thousands of masters were all killed. Hundreds of thousands of disciples were all killed. No one escaped. In fact, there wasn't a single corpse at the scene. There wasn't even a drop of blood. Elder Jiu told him everything he knew. What? There's actually such a thing. Hearing this, Lin Xian also frowned. This kind of thing was too strange. He couldn't understand, so he called the Crimson Dragon over and asked them together. After the Crimson Dragon heard this, he also frowned. This kind of thing was too strange. This shouldn't be a normal sect extermination battle. The other party was targeting the warriors of the Divine Bird Palace. Could it be that someone on the continent recently practiced some evil technique? It requires the blood of a strong warrior at the same time. The Divine Bird Palace was destroyed, and there wasn't a drop of blood. This undoubtedly made the Crimson Dragon think of the evil technique that devoured blood. This kind of technique is very terrifying and cruel. If there is really a king secretly practicing it, I'm afraid it will be a disaster for the Sky Martial Continent. Hearing the Crimson Dragon's words, Lin Xian's expression became serious. He knew that the matter was urgent, so he hurriedly ordered, Elder Jiu, send someone to investigate carefully. You must clarify this matter. Yes, I'll go now. Elder Jiu turned and was about to leave. At this moment, a bright light suddenly flashed in the sky. Following that, the entire Palace of Gods of War shook violently, as if there was a huge earthquake. Boom. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Countless thunder boomed, as a violent energy appeared in the sky, sweeping in all directions. At this moment, countless warriors and elders of the Palace of Gods of War raised their heads to look at the sky. Lin Xian also frowned, and a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes. Someone actually dared to attack the Palace of Gods of War? They were courting death. A huge energy storm formed above the Palace of Gods of War, and terrifying thunder boomed in all directions. Lin Xian's face was extremely gloomy because he knew that an expert had made a move this time. Fortunately, there was a defensive array. Otherwise, the other party would have directly charged in. This defensive array was different from the previous ones. It was personally modified by the Crimson Dragon and could automatically defend. It could be said that it was very terrifying. It was also because of this automatic defensive formation that the mysterious powerhouse was blocked. The other warriors of the Palace of Gods of War were also shocked. They didn't expect that someone would dare to behave so atrociously in the Palace of Gods of War. This wasn't because they were arrogant, but because they were confident. Ever since Lin Xian killed Patriarch Duan Ji in public and destroyed the Duan family, the Palace of Gods of War's status in the Tiemu continent could be said to have skyrocketed. Even the other House of Kings didn't dare to provoke them. It couldn't be helped. In the entire Tiemu continent, everyone knew that Lin Xian had 3 kings. And if Din Xian was included, that would be 4 kings. There was even Lin Zhan, who had yet to come out of seclusion. If all of them came out, that would be 5 kings. With such a terrifying force, no House of Kings dared to provoke them. But now, someone actually dared to barge into the Palace of Gods of War. Just as everyone was guessing who dared to attack their Palace of Gods of War, a cold voice suddenly exploded in the sky above. Lin Xian, get out here. Chapter 1469. Just as everyone was guessing who it was that had dared to attack the Ares god of war technique, a cold voice exploded in the sky above them. Lin Xian, get out here. Don't think that you can block my path just because you have a defensive array. If you provoke me, I will destroy the Ares god of war palace. This voice was filled with endless fury. Everyone was in an uproar when they heard this voice. This was because they realized that this voice was filled with the aura of a king. It was obvious that this was a king. On the other hand, Lin Xian's face darkened. Naturally, he could tell whose voice it was. Shen family patriarch, you are courting death. I didn't do anything to you when you tried to attack me last time. I didn't expect that you would dare to come again. Do you really think that I wouldn't dare to kill you? Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body flashed, and he appeared in the sky in an instant. Give me a reason to forgive you. Otherwise, don't even think about going back today. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy and filled with killing intent. The Shun family patriarch seemed even more furious. He sneered. Kid, don't try to act mysterious in front of me. Let me ask you, did you destroy the Divine Bird Palace? What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian had a stunned look on his face. He hadn't expected that the Shun family patriarch would come for this matter. The marshalists below still didn't know about the Divine Bird Palace because this news hadn't spread yet. Therefore, everyone was in an uproar when they heard that the Divine Bird Palace had been destroyed. No way. The Divine Bird Palace was destroyed? What a joke. That is a 6th-rank sect. I'm afraid that only the House of Kings can destroy it. Could it be that the young master really did it? That shouldn't be the case. The young master would definitely inform us if he made a move. But we didn't receive any news at all. Furthermore, the young master didn't even leave the Ares god of war palace during this period. As everyone was discussing this, Lin Xian frowned. Are you out of your mind? Why are you suspecting me? Stop pretending. On this continent, other than you, no one else has such strength. The old ancestor of the Duan clan shouted coldly as he glared at Lin Xian. The others don't have strength? That might not be the case. Your Shin family should at least have the ability to do so. Lin Xian sneered. According to what you said, I can say that it was you who destroyed Divine Bird Palace and then framed me. You. Upon hearing this, the patriarch of the Shun family trembled with anger. To be honest, any House of Kings can destroy the Divine Bird Palace. But what's the situation of the Divine Bird Palace now? Not a single corpse, not a single drop of blood. How do you explain the thick smell of blood lingering in the air? This is definitely not something a king can do. You must know that when we discovered this situation, it had only been a short while. Even the smell of blood in the air was enough to make people vomit. It's impossible for a king to accomplish such a feat in such a short amount of time. In the entire sky martial continent, only you can unite two king-level demonic beasts to accomplish such a feat. Now you're telling me that it wasn't you. How do you expect me to believe you? The patriarch of the Duan clan became more agitated as he spoke. You destroyed the Duan clan because of hatred. But what about the Divine Bird Palace? He just stood on the side of the Duan clan. Just because of this, you destroyed the entire Divine Bird Palace? That's hundreds of thousands of martial artists. How could you do it? To be honest, the patriarch of the Shen family was really angry because the destruction of the Duan clan was a cycle of karma. They could not blame anyone else. After all, the Duan clan had wantonly massacred the people of the Palace of Gods of War. However, the Divine Bird Palace and Lin Xian did not have any direct enmity. Even if it was because the other party had helped the Duan clan, the Palace of Gods of War would only take revenge by killing a few elders. Even if they killed the palace master of the Divine Bird Palace, that would be fine. But now, hundreds of thousands of martial artists were all killed. This was definitely an extremely cruel method. Therefore, the patriarch of the Shen family could not stand it. I'll say it one more time. I didn't do it. If I wanted to destroy the Divine Bird Palace, I would have done it when the Duan clan was destroyed. There's no need to wait a second time. If you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do. If it wasn't you, then who is it? Who else on this continent can condense 3 king realm martial artists in an instant? The patriarch of the Shun family's voice was cold, and he did not back down at all. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a powerful aura surged from his body. The other party was so aggressive and immediately accused him of such a big crime. Of course, he was unhappy. Moreover, he did things openly and honestly. He would never deny that he killed them. Just like when he destroyed the Duan clan, he would do it in front of all the powerhouses in the world. If he did not kill them, he would not swallow his pride and let others slander him. Neither side was backing down, and it looked like they were about to fight. The atmosphere in the air froze, and a terrifying king realm aura spread out in all directions. Below, the martial artists of the Palace of Gods of War trembled. The ninth elder had already ordered people to prepare the defensive array. However, at this moment, 2 more voices rang out. Both of you, calm down. Stop. Don't fight. Along with this loud voice, 2 figures appeared in the sky and stopped Lin Xian and the patriarch of the Duan clan. Seeing 2 more figures appear in the sky, everyone's hearts were in their throats, because 2 more figures had appeared, and they were king realm martial artists. It was Patriarch Morong and the Happy King. Patriarch Morong and the Happy King appeared and stopped Lin Xian and the Shen family's patriarch. At the same time, they quickly said, "Both of you, calm down." "I can't calm down. You 2 came at the right time. Let's take down this brat together. He's too presumptuous. Does he really think he can kill whoever he wants?" The patriarch of the Shen family's voice was ferocious. "You want to fight? You can try." Lin Xian did not back down. He took a step forward, and sword chi surrounded his body. "Both of you, calm down." The Happy King quickly stopped them, and Patriarch Morong also pulled the Shun family's patriarch. "Don't fight. This is a little strange. At least I know that the 9-tailed demonic fox has been with the Morong clan all this time. She hasn't left during this period." "What? You're saying that the 9-tailed demonic fox hasn't left?" This time, it was the patriarch of the Shun family's turn to be stunned. He did not expect things to be different from what he had expected. However, he was still very suspicious, so he coldly shouted, "So what? Even if it's him and this four-legged snake, they can still do it." F***CK. Old man, who are you calling a four-legged snake? Do you believe that Ben Huang won't slap you to death? The Crimson Dragon was also unhappy. He had shown his divine dragon form in front of everyone, but now the other party was calling him a four-legged snake. This made him furious. What made him even angrier was that the other party dared to frame him. Come, old man. Ben Huang will play with you. I'll let you know how powerful Ben Huang is. The Crimson Dragon was so angry that he gritted his teeth and kept clenching his dragon claws. Could it be that there are kings in the Marshall Heaven continent that we don't know about? Asked Lin Xian. After all, his knowledge of this continent was not as good as the other kings. However, the happy king shook his head slightly. Once one becomes a king, it means that one will become the pinnacle of this continent. It is impossible for such a character to remain dormant for too long. He will definitely stand out. They might even establish a dynasty and family to share this continent, just like the Duan family. So if there really is a hidden king, it is impossible that we don't know about it. There is another possibility, which is that it is a new king. However, that is even more impossible. In terms of strength, these new kings are a bit weaker than us old kings. Even with our methods, we can't do such a thing, let alone a new king. Hearing this, everyone nodded. Indeed, the happy king was right. Old kings couldn't be dormant for so long, and new kings didn't have such strength. Then who was it that did it? What they were most worried about now was the other party's motive. Was it because of revenge or something else? If the other party attacked again, who would be the next target? Or did he choose randomly? The kings were thinking so hard that their heads were about to explode. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon spoke in a deep voice. Don't think about it. It shouldn't be revenge. The situation you are talking about must be some kind of evil cultivation technique that specializes in absorbing the blood of martial artists. It's just that he doesn't care about ordinary martial artists, so he specifically chose this kind of rank 6 sect to attack. Damn it, who is he? The Shun family's elder gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He had lived for more than 1,000 years, and he had never encountered such a strange thing. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before he attacked the House of Kings. Lin Xian's face was also solemn. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing when he was about to leave Tianwu continent. If he couldn't find the culprit and kill him, even if he found the energy stones now, he wouldn't be able to leave in peace. No, we can't let this continue. We have to find him. Lin Xian's eyes focused. Yes, that's right. We have to find the culprit and kill him. Otherwise, I won't even be able to sleep. The happy king said in a deep voice. The Murong family's elder and the Shun family's elder nodded. Fortunately, when they came out, they had asked the people in their families to open the great defensive array. That kind of array was 10 times stronger than the Divine Bird Palace's great defensive array. Even a king couldn't easily break it. This was also the reason why they dared to come out. Not long after, Dean Xian also came. Obviously, he also knew about the situation of the Divine Bird Palace and the Earth Fire sect. The 6 kings entered the War God Palace to discuss. Although they still didn't know who the culprit was from the current 2 cases, the culprit should be in the northwest, because the Earth Fire sect and the Divine Bird Palace were in the northwest of Tianwu continent. What other rank 6 sects are there in the northwest? Lin Xian quickly asked. The 9th elder also took out a huge map and placed it in front of the 6 kings. Tianwu continent's martial Dao was very developed, so there were more than 20 rank 6 sects. Just in the northwest, there were 4 rank 6 middle sects: Divine Bird Palace, Earth Fire Sect, Embracing Moon Pavilion, and Purple Cloud Sect. 3 of them, Divine Bird Palace and Earth Fire Sect, were destroyed, leaving only Embracing Moon Pavilion and Purple Cloud Sect. In other words, the next target of the mysterious culprit was either Embracing Moon Pavilion or Purple Cloud Sect. Since we know his next target, what are we waiting for? Let's act quickly. The Shun family's ancestor said, "Okay, we 6 kings can be divided into 2 groups." Dean Xian said, "Old Shun, you, Old Morong, and the Happy King will be in a group and go to the Purple Cloud Sect. Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, and I will go to Embracing Moon Pavilion. With the 3 kings joining forces, we can definitely take down the culprit." Hearing this, Ancestor Morong, Lin Xian, and the others nodded. The Crimson Dragon said in a deep voice, "Don't be too optimistic. From the current situation, the culprit seems to be very fast. And he is very strong. He can easily destroy a rank 6 sect. We may not be as fast as him." Chapter 1471. On the side, the Crimson Dragon said, "Don't be too optimistic. Judging from the current situation, the opponent seems to be very fast. And he's very strong. He can easily destroy a rank 6 sect. We might not be as fast as him." Hearing this, everyone's faces turned serious. Lin Xian looked at the map in front of him and said slowly, "Let's do it this way. But if we find that the Purple Cloud Sect and the Moon Pavilion have been destroyed, we'll go to the Golden Blade Sect. You'll go to the Wind and Thunder Hall." Lin Xian pointed at the map and said, this was because these 2 rank 6 sects were the closest to the Moon Pavilion and the Purple Cloud Sect. Moreover, these 2 sects were not in the northwest region. They were in the central region, but they were closer to the northwest region. This meant that if the opponent wanted to advance to the central continent, the first to bear the brunt would be these 2 rank 6 sects. After coming up with a plan, Lin Xian and the other kings split up. Among them, the Shun family ancestor, Ancestor Morong, and the Happy King were in a group. The 3 of them headed to the Purple Cloud Sect. Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, and Dean Xian were in a group. The 3 of them headed to the Moon Pavilion. Lin Xian waved his hand and took out the spiritual boat from before. Then, the 3 of them boarded the spiritual boat and quickly soared into the sky. After he left, the 9th Elder activated the defensive array. Suddenly, the entire mountain range of the Palace of Gods of War was completely covered by the defensive array. Lin Xian was very relieved. These arrays were all modified by the Crimson Dragon. They were extremely strong. Even a king would not be able to break through them in a short time. Moreover, not only were there defensive arrays, but there were also killing arrays. If there was really danger, the 9th Elder and the others could control the killing arrays to fight against the enemy. Lin Xian moved quickly. On the other side, the Heavenly Netherbird moved quickly as well. He had destroyed 2 rank 6 sects and obtained a large amount of martial artist's blood. This caused the mysterious rune in front of him to shine brightly. A terrifying power was emitted from the crimson rune. Not enough, not enough. It would be great if I could wipe out the 2 House of Kings. The Heavenly Netherbird revealed a sinister smile. However, he only thought about it and did not act on it. Because he still had a star chain on him, he couldn't use all of its power. Moreover, the House of Kings was much more powerful than a rank 6 sect. That defensive formation was much stronger than that of a rank 6 sect. In fact, if a king-level cultivator were to fight him with a peerless killing formation, it would be very difficult for him to gain an advantage. Humph. I'll let you off this time. Wait until I've absorbed enough blood and broken the last astral chain. I'll trample all of you House of Kings under my feet." The heavenly netherbird sneered and flapped its wings. It turned into a black flash and streaked across the sky. His target this time was another rank 6 sect, Purple Cloud Sect. It was also rank 6 sect. The entire sect was located in a mountain range called the Purple Mountain. The Purple Mountain was very strange. In terms of height, it was not the highest, but the mountain range was surrounded by purple clouds all year round. Outsiders and demonic beasts could not enter at all, causing the Purple Cloud Sect to be filled with a layer of mystery. Later, a peerless expert of the Purple Cloud Sect used the purple clouds to set up a formation. If an outsider tried to force their way in, they would be lost in it for the rest of their lives. Therefore, outsiders did not dare to casually barge in. Even a half-step king had lost his way in the past. However, at this moment, a huge shadow appeared near the Purple Mountain. This shadow was naturally the heavenly netherbird. Its black eyes were burning as it looked at the Purple Mountain in front of it. However, the Purple Cloud Sect cultivators in the mountain range were still unaware of the danger, because until now, the news of the Divine Bird Palace being destroyed had not spread. Only a few House of Kings knew about it. Looking at the mountain range surrounded by purple clouds, the heavenly netherbird snorted in disdain. Then, the twin wings on its back vibrated and floated in the air. Countless black flames quickly condensed and formed a black fireball in front of it. It was like a black sun shining with cold light. This black fireball was too terrifying. As soon as it appeared, it displayed an extremely powerful force. Countless black flames burned on its surface. The surrounding space was even more distorted and cracked. In the next moment, the heavenly netherbird opened its mouth. Suddenly, the black fireball flew out like a meteor. Its target was the Purple Mountain in front of it. The black fireball streaked across the sky, bringing with it endless black flames. Soon, it hit the Purple Mountain in front of it. However, the thick purple clouds this time were not as magical as the legends said. Instead, it was torn apart by a pair of invisible hands like paper. Wherever the black fireball passed, it was like a hot knife through butter. It directly tore apart the purple clouds in the mountain range. Then, it violently blasted towards the Purple Cloud Sect. Rumble! In the next moment, a thunderous explosion sounded. Then, the mountain range in front of it shook violently. Countless mountains collapsed, and huge rocks rolled down. The black fireball exploded, forming a boundless energy storm that swept out in all directions. Then, a huge black mushroom cloud quickly rose up. Many cultivators screamed. Under this energy, their bodies exploded and turned into a bloody mist. They did not even see who the enemy was. Chapter 1472. Not long after, there was another sound in the sky. Then, 3 figures appeared near the Purple Mountain. These 3 people were the ancestor of the Shin family, Ancestor Morong, and the Happy King. When they saw that the purple clouds had returned to normal, they were relieved. "It's okay," the ancestor of the Shin family said. "This purple cloud is a defensive formation of the Purple Cloud Sect. It's very magical. The entire formation is made up of mist that doesn't dissipate all year round. If someone who doesn't know about it walks inside, they won't be able to get out. It seems that they haven't come yet, or they've gone to the moon embracing pavilion." Ancestor Morong said in a low voice, "No matter what, let's go in first and inform the Purple Cloud Sect to get ready." Then the Happy King sent a message inside, and the 3 of them waited in the void. However, after waiting for a while, they found that there was no movement inside. "What's going on? What are those people from the Purple Cloud Sect doing?" The Happy King frowned, looking unhappy. Ancestor Morong also frowned. Is there a problem? The ancestor of the Shun family looked serious. Forget it. Let's go in and have a look. Then he waved his hand, and suddenly a shining hand reached out and tore apart the purple clouds in front of them. Even though this purple mist was a huge formation and was extremely strong, it did not pose much of a threat to a king. Therefore, the Shun family's patriarch and the other two quickly passed through the dense purple clouds. Then they were stunned. The mountain in front of them had been torn apart, and the palace had been destroyed. It was a ruin. Although they couldn't see outside because of the purple clouds, they found that the entire purple cloud sect had been razed to the ground after entering. The ancestor of the Shin family, Ancestor Morong, and the happy king were shocked. They had only heard about the news of the Divine Bird Palace and the Earth Fire sect, but they hadn't seen it with their own eyes. But now, seeing the state of the Purple Cloud sect with their own eyes, they were really shocked. Just like the previous news, there was a thick smell of blood in the sky, but the warriors of the Purple Cloud sect were all gone. There wasn't even a drop of blood on the ground. This situation was really strange. Damn it, we're still one step too late. The old man from the Shin family's face was unusually ferocious. That murderer is too arrogant. He destroyed 3 rank 6 sects in a row. If this continues, I'm afraid that it won't be long before all the rank 6 sects in the entire Tianwu continent are destroyed. This was something that was hard to believe. Let's go. Let's hurry to the Wind and Thunder Hall, the Happy King said anxiously. This was something they had discussed long ago. If the Purple Cloud sect was destroyed, they would immediately head to the Wind Thunder Hall. Thus, in the next moment, the Happy Prince, the Murong clan's ancestor, and the Shun family's ancestor did not hesitate in the slightest. They quickly left the Purple Cloud Church. However, as soon as they stood up, they saw that the purple clouds in the mountain range before them were gathering together. The 3 of them were stunned and stopped in their tracks. In front of them, the purple clouds tumbled and formed something similar to a light screen. Then, a blurry image appeared in front of everyone. In the image, there was a huge black figure. It was like a black demonic mountain, and there were boundless black flames burning on its body. Its wings flapped and covered the sky. It was extremely terrifying. Seeing this figure, the Happy Prince and the other two's pupils shrank, and they cried out in shock. The heavenly Netherbird. That's right. The huge black figure in the image was the heavenly Netherbird. In the image, the heavenly Netherbird opened its mouth and spat out a black ball of light. It directly flattened the entire Purple Cloud sect. Then countless martial artist bodies split apart and turned into blood mist. All of it gathered on the blood rune in front of the heavenly Netherbird. All of this was done by the heavenly Netherbird. When the 3 saw this scene, their scalps went numb. They did not expect that the mysterious murderer was actually the heavenly Netherbird. That damned beast. The last time he came out to cause trouble, we only managed to chase him away and teach him a lesson. I didn't expect him to be even worse this time. He actually dared to slaughter 3 rank 6 sects. This time, no matter what, we can't let him go. The Shen family's ancestor gritted his teeth. The Murong clan's ancestor was also shocked. I didn't expect that the purple clouds would have a memory function. Luckily, it recorded everything that happened. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know who the murderer was. The happy monarch's expression was also grave. Damn it, this guy seems to have become even stronger. Judging from the attack just now, he's probably much stronger than before. That was indeed the case. The Murong clan's ancestor and the others nodded. Naturally, they noticed this point. The heavenly Netherbird's increase in strength was not good news for them. Moreover, it was obvious that the other party was absorbing the blood of these martial artists. He must have cultivated some kind of evil technique. If the other party was able to cultivate it and his strength increased again, they would not be his match at all. Let's go. Let's hurry to the Wind Thunder Hall and stop him. The three of them did not stay any longer. They turned into streaks of light and disappeared into the void. In another direction, at the moon-embracing pavilion, Lin Xian, Din Xian, and the Crimson Dragon had also rushed over. When they saw the situation at the moon-embracing pavilion, they heaved a sigh of relief. Because the moon-embracing pavilion was still there, nothing had happened. However, Lin Xian and the others did not let down their guard. If it wasn't them, then it would be the Purple Cloud sect. Either way, it was either one of the two or the mysterious murderer had not arrived yet. Therefore, Lin Xian and the others entered the moon-embracing pavilion and told them to tighten their defenses. They also told the moon-embracing pavilion what had happened recently. The pavilion master of the moon-embracing pavilion was a middle-aged woman wearing a blue dress. She had a dignified appearance with a hint of maturity. When she heard the news, her beautiful face turned pale. She did not expect such a big thing to happen. If it was not for the arrival of Lin Xian and the others, she was afraid that it would have taken a while for her to know. Then what do we do now? The pavilion master of the moon-embracing pavilion asked anxiously. There was no other way. 2 rank 6 sects had already been destroyed, especially the Divine Bird Palace, which was a top rank 6 sect. Compared to them, it was much stronger. But even so, it was still easily destroyed. If the murderer targeted the moon-embracing pavilion, they would not be able to hold on. But fortunately, now that they had Lin Xian and the other 2 kings, they were not very worried for the time being. However, if these 3 kings left, they would not have any support at all. Don't worry, we have already started to make arrangements. I believe that we should be able to stop the mysterious murderer. If we are safe here, it means that there should be some changes on the Happy King's side. As they were talking, the Crimson Dragon suddenly frowned. With a wave of its dragon claws, a palm-sized jade talisman quickly burned, and a low voice came out from it. We have found the mysterious murderer. It is the heavenly Netherbird. The Purple Cloud sect has been destroyed. We are heading to the Wind and Thunder Hall. That you're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.